ready.
Hi, good afternoon. Today is Wednesday, October 2nd, 2019. We are now beginning our town board work session at 2:05.
We're having a town board meeting, I don't want to work.
What did I say, work session? Town board meeting, sorry. If we could stand for the pledge. Diane, do you want to lead us?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Diane.
I miss a Tuesday and my days are off now.
Oh, I know.
All right, Jim, I'll turn it over to you.
Good. We have from our faith community, the Reverend Dr. Sean B. Murray from the First Congregational Church of Riverhead, a beautiful downtown church, to lead us in our location. The best Riverhead downtown.
Thank you, Mr. Wooten. It is a beautiful church. You ought to stop by every now and again.
Zingo.
Right back at you.
Playing hooky.
Yeah, playing hooky, yeah. I'm his pastor, I can get away with that. Together we pray. Good and gracious, most holy God, creator of us all and higher power to many, we open our hearts and give you thanks for the blessing of this day, for the change of the seasons, for warm summer breezes and early fall days, for your presence. In each and every moment, in each and every day, we are grateful. Holy One, fall afresh on us all. Bless us as your people of this town of Riverhead. Bless those who serve our town. Do be with Jim as he retires from his many, many years of faithful service here. Do bless those who currently sit on our board, those who are running come November. And bless our town with insight and wisdom that we may be led to vote wisely and that all may be enabled to carry this town in the way that you would have us go. Bless us and those who look after us. We do give you thanks for first responders, for faithful men and women who serve in our armed forces, in our police department, fire department, and for those who look after us when we are ill. Bless the hungry and the homeless, the many who need you, God, each and every day. Do bless us all and bless these, the good people, in this room as we enter into this meeting. In Jesus' name we pray, and together we say,
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your years of service, sir.
Thank you. And I'll be back at church.
Thank you.
And then you have one for the Kansas Society. Oh, okay.
So glad.
Yeah, we're trying to do that for the evening meeting. They didn't respond. Oh, okay. So that's supposed to retire.
And now we will move on to the next portion. We are honoring 3 of our police officers for they're being honored for their skillful efforts in assisting an individual in need. If I could call up Police Officer Rosini, Police Officer Oswald, and Police Officer Bianco. And Chief, would you like to come up also? So we're very proud to be here today. We have 3 police officers that acted quickly and decisively to assist one of our residents, putting themselves in harm's way. So we have certificates of commendation for them, but I will let the chief also say a few words.
Sure, I'll just give you the brief description of the incident that happened. So back on September 25th, about 6 o'clock in the evening, we received a call of a suicidal subject armed with a shotgun up off of Middle Road. These 3 officers responded, and through their brave and quick actions, were actually able to disarm that subject, retain him, and bring him up to Stony Brook for evaluation. They did an excellent job, an outstanding job, and we're here to commend them today.
So thank you very much. Officer Bianca? Thank you very much. Officer Oswald? And Officer Levine.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got a little washed out. Sorry. Give me a good group shot.
Want to do it with everybody?
All in a day's
All right, we'll have you open up your certificates. Nope, you're good. Tim's turn.
Well, to move over one way or the other, because you're still behind them.
There we go.
You're not that. Thank you, sir. Looking good. Okay.
Oh, yes, thank you,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Take it,
Good
take
job,
it.
everyone. Thank you.
And then do you wanna?
Yep, and then we also would like to call up Local 1298.
Don't go anywhere.
That's the other guy. Hi, John. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend.
Good. So, we have a member here from 1298, Local 1298, who is roads and construction.
Roads and
and-
heavy construction, correct.
Roads and heavy construction. So, when we were having problems with traffic control specialists and trying to find solutions as to how to better train our traffic control specialists, I reached out to 1298, Local 1298, and TJ happens to be a Riverhead resident.
Correct.
And he's on the union board for 1298, and they're very helpful. They came out, they actually sent somebody here to train all of our traffic control officers and traffic control specialists, and we even trained some people from other townships also that were able to make the meeting that day. So it says to Local 1298, in honor of you, in recognition for your help in training our traffic control specialists so that our residents and visitors remain safe in the town of Riverhead during our busy season. And it's awarded this second day of October 2019, signed by the entire town board. We're very appreciative for you coming out and stepping out and just saying, yes, we will come and do it. And I think the traffic is moving much better,
Working.
right?
That's what we can hope
So
for.
we
It's been a hard traffic, it's been Riverhead.
yeah. So we appreciate you coming out and especially making it easy for our members to be able to take the training without having to go to your training center in Bohemia. But, 1298 is a great community member and we thank you.
That's all we can do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
And then we're gonna take a picture. We're gonna do a picture. Good.
All right, cuddle up.
All right, Jim's gonna get.
Cuddle up.
The locals know to get their pumpkins
Yeah,
on
that's what
Wednesday.
you do.
They get their pumpkins during the week.
Sorry.
Okay.
Everybody's waiting to see
Right
you.
this
Thank
way.
you very much. Should've bought some cones and vests with.
There you go.
Kristen was doing so, yeah, I don't know, is anybody here from the American Cancer Society? You are, Esperanza, right?
I could
So,
tell.
because I guess the town board coordinator hadn't heard back from you whether or not you can make today's meeting, because the meeting was switched from yesterday until today.
Okay.
So we don't have a proclamation for you just yet. We'll give it to you when you come back next time, but if you wanna come up and say a few words about, what the Cancer Society is doing and the activities that you have planned for the month of October, that'd be great.
So hi everyone, I'm Esperanza. I'm with the American
That'd be a little
Cancer
louder.
Society. She actually did a walk out here in Riverhead at the Suffolk County Community College at their Eastern campus. So I have some mock papers which you can leave up here.
Esperanza, can we just ask you to go to the microphone, just because so everyone can hear what you're saying and it's on camera.
You're on TV.
Microphone if you want, and just.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
I'm a little short, so. So, hello, I'm Esperanza. I'm with the American Cancer Society. And we do the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk out here in Riverhead on Sunday, October 27th. So I have some walk papers. I actually put them up there. Feel free to grab them. And then we also want to do Paint the Town Pink. So hopefully we can get all of Riverhead involved.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
So we'll have you back before the 27th, and then we'll
Thank you, Esperanza.
do some other announcements. Thank you. I know, I was gonna say something here about it too. I wore it for you today, because I went in my closet and I said, I'm wearing my pinstripe today.
All right, before we move further with the town board meeting, can I have a first and second to close the town board meeting and to open up our CDA meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded vote?
Do you want me to do that, Dawn, or you got that?
I'll
Okay,
handle.
go ahead.
It's good. Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Chairwoman.
Yes.
Meeting is open. We have a resolution to approve the minutes of the CDA special meeting dated September 17th, 2019 at 6 p.m. and the special meeting of September 26th, 2019 at 10 a.m. I think we need a motion.
I move to accept the approval of the minutes for the September 17th and September 26th meeting.
A second.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded vote, please?
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Chairwoman.
Yes.
The minutes have been approved, and we have, do you want to
We'll
do
just do an
comments?
open comment period. If there's anybody in the audience who would like to come up and comment on anything for our CDA meeting, please come forward. You can also comment on resolutions at this time. Seeing nobody, I will move on to resolution. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, this is for the
Just for the
CDA.
CDA.
I will move on to resolutions.
Okay, Resolution 14 of 2019 authorizes the chairwoman to execute license agreement with Launcher, Inc. Need a
I'll
motion?
move that.
Okay, second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded vote, please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
A great company, and they are recognized all the time in the aerospace industry for their innovative designs that they're coming up with for satellite, and it's really amazing what they're doing, and we're very lucky to have them here in Riverhead. Yes, absolutely.
Chairwoman?
Yes.
The resolution is
And
adopted.
I vote yes too, just.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Just for the
Sorry.
record.
Sorry, Jim. You just sent you off too quick. Okay.
All right, everybody's accounted for?
Where's the count for?
All right,
Close the
at
meeting.
this time, did anybody else want to come up and comment on anything with the CDA? Seeing nobody, can I have a first and second to close the CDA meeting and to go back into the town board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Thank you, Dawn.
Well, nobody opposed, so I'm going.
Just rolling on.
Yeah. All right, so we, back into our regular town board meeting. Can I have a approval for the minutes of our regular town board meeting on September 17th, 2019 at 6 p.m. and our town board meeting, special meeting, September 26th, 2019 at 10 a.m.
So moved.
Seconded.
All right, moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
The minutes are approved. Should I go right into my items? Agenda items?
Yes.
Okay. The first thing I want to do is deliver the official 2020 tentative budget to the town board. And then I'll go into correspondence. There was a letter from Matt Pendleton regarding Vinland Common zoning issues. A letter from Eric Russo of Van Brunt, Juswick, and Russo, and that is in response to a public hearing of September 4th regarding the Petrocelli Ostrander project at 420 East Main Street, Riverhead, better known as the Howell House. A letter from Sharon Dunnigan in response to a public hearing of September 4th regarding a proposed amendment to Chapter 301, Article 52, commercial solar energy production facilities. A letter from Sal Mastropolo, he was sharing communication, to Aurelia Henriquez. She is the superintendent of the Riverhead, Central School District, and he outlined some concerns and suggestions for both town and school interests. A letter from Nancy Rayner and Yasmin Heasley, and with a petition requesting pickleball courts at South Jamesport Beach. Paulette Sherman sent 2 letters, one regarding sidewalks at Cradaville Avenue, Cradaville Street to Stotsky Park, and the other one, she is requesting a water supply at Duke Dog Park at Stotsky Park.
Working on that.
And that's all for that correspondence. And the Fire District sent in their notices, all of them, Jamesport, Manaville, Riverhead, and Wading River, and those were all notices of their 2020 proposed budgets. Under reports, the building department submitted their September monthly report. That was $48,839.75. Town clerk September monthly report, $10,467.78. IDA and Riverhead IDA Economic Job Development Corporation sent in their 2020 proposed budgets. Tax receivers sent in their August 2019 utility collection report, and that was $743,034.88. And I think I got it all.
All right, very good. Before we go into public hearings, I'll just read the announcement. Diane Tucci is coordinating the Halloween parade and coffin races on Saturday, October 26th, as part of the Halloween Fest in our downtown. All info can be found at HalloweenFestRiverhead.com, or you can contact her at 631-209-4244 with any questions. We also, Jim, do you want to do the country fair?
Are you sure it's 209? Not 208, all right.
I'm not.
Yeah. The country fair, of course, is on October 13th. It's a Sunday from 10 to 5 on, it's 44 years going, so everybody's pretty familiar with the Riverhead Country Fair. So we got a lot of beautiful weather planned out. It's scaled it back a little bit, so it won't be so intense. We got a lot of vendors, a couple hundred vendors, and some rides and agricultural booths and stuff at the Eastern Arts property. So come on down. It's a beautiful day to come out and just walk around with your neighbors and check out the goods.
And the cleanup day is October 19th, and that is 9 a.m. to come.
9 a.m. We kick off at 9 a.m. So you come a little early at 9 a.m. here. We'll have shirts and pickers and gloves and bags and some snacks, and we'll have a list of roads, and then off we go.
And we had the civic roundtable the other day, so I actually asked all the civics to at least recruit 4 or 5 people to
Yeah,
come.
we've got a
hopefully-
pretty good turnout coming, so the more the merrier, believe me. Many hands make light work, so.
Very good. And the Suffolk County Department of Civil Service will be holding 2 informational seminars here in Riverhead, and you can come learn about how to apply for civil service positions and gain job opportunities. These seminars will be held October 23rd at 6. There'll be 2 sessions, one at 6 p.m. and then one again at 7:30. So those are. Oh, I know. I have one other announcement. Sorry, I'm a little discombobulated here. I also want to announce that the continuation of several of the public hearings that we have that were held over will be continued on October 16th, and they will begin at 6:05 p.m. And they are the landmarks and historic districts, Article 3, alteration, demolition, or construction affecting landmarks or historic districts. The second one is, Chapter 209, Architectural Review, Article 1, General Provisions. The next is Chapter 105, Boards, Commissions, and Councils, Article 9, Landmarks Preservation Commission. And Chapter 105, Boards and Commissions and Councils, Article 3, Architectural Review Board. So just to, we had been asked to hold those over to an evening meeting, so those will be on the October 16th, starting at 6:05 p.m. I'll call all of them successively after that.
Thanks for the warning.
Yeah. At this point, I will go on to public hearings. We have one public hearing scheduled for today. The public hearing was scheduled for 2:05. It is now just about 2:25. This is the continuation of the September 17th, 2019 public hearing regarding the consideration of declaring the blighted property known as 849 through 853 West Main Street, Riverhead. Previous public hearings on this same matter were held on April 2nd, on May 22nd, on July 2nd, on August 6th, on September 4th, 2019. Bob, we had adjourned them to this point?
Yes, we have.
So, there had been an email that was sent around, and is a recommendation from our town attorney, that we withdraw, this public hearing, as they have come to an agreement, under the blighted property, code, and have, commenced some of the work. So, there's a vote to withdraw from the board? How does that work?
We would ask that the board open and then withdraw the matter. In addition to the fact that we've come to an understanding with the county through the assistance of Assistant County Attorney Mrs. Zados, who is here today, and Ms. Ward, who's part of the property, there's also the additional consideration, the fact that there's still a question as to who will be the proper owner, as there's still an outstanding litigation that's pending where the prior owner of record has sought to redeem the property, and there has not been a decision made by the justice in that case. So there's two factors which are motivating or behind our recommendation that you open it and then withdraw it.
Okay.
So, I have a question. How does that work if the county is agreeing to make all the changes, such as boarding up the building and cleaning up the noxious weeds and cleaning up the property, and then it's determined?
Just for a second. Do I have to open the, all right, I open the
Okay,
public,
yeah.
for this to be on the record, or?
I would
Is it
like it to
open?
be.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like you to open it.
So I've opened the public hearing for the 205.
Okay.
Okay, so go ahead.
Okay, so I appreciate the work that the county has done as far as working with the town attorney's office and trying to get this blighted property cleaned up. We've been trying for many years. This is the Danowski's Fish Market, if anybody is familiar with it, on West Main Street. And it really has been an eyesore. I know that the county has been in court. The county did take the property from the property owner for non-payment of taxes. Now the property owner is trying to get the property back, and the property's kind of been in limbo for a very long time. We've tried to have an action on this property for a very long time. So the county has agreed to board up the building, clean up the property, clean up the noxious weeds, things of that nature. However, what happens if the court somewhere in between decides that it goes back to the property owner and we don't have an agreement with that property owner? Do we have to start the process all over again? Is it in our best interest to leave it open and not withdraw it, just so that the record has been established for what we're trying to do here, if the property is switched back to the property owner and the county's the one that signed the agreement to make the improvements to the property?
I would recommend that we withdraw, and the reason I would recommend is because the notifications in the process has been between the town and the county. We really have, although the property owner who is asserting some rights and attempting to have the redemption go forward in that court action, the record has not been 100% clean, and that the notifications and such weren't, I think, directly to him. Should he be successful in that court action, we would redo what we've done and properly notify him as we're required to do under the blighted properties law. And again, I think the record would be cleaner, and that's the reason why we're recommending that it be withdrawn in the event that they are successful in their court challenge. In the interim, if the county continues forward, I think we'll have their continued cooperation to address the property. So,
Makes sense.
So I have one other question. So I haven't seen the agreement. Is it that until the court decides who the ownership of the property was, and then the building would be taken down? Because I don't want to see a boarded up building on West Main Street for, and have to bring up this action again. I would want something in the agreement, and I don't know if the county attorney can agree to that, that if it's determined that the county does own the property, that the building would be taken down.
Well,
Because I'm bothered by the fact that taxpayer money is going to board up and kind of keep squatters out to begin with, because I think that the building is irreparable and that it's going to have to come down eventually. I just don't want to see it blighted and have to start this process over again.
well, our blighted properties law is a law that utilizes exterior examinations. So we have not been inside to make a determination whether that structure is unsound or not.
That's a different.
The whole concept of the blighted properties law is to look at the properties from the exterior and make some determinations from the exterior in order to gain some compliance and in order to get them looking better and not as much of a blight on the community as they are when they're cited. So the question, I mean, and again, the county attorney could certainly, assistant county attorney could come up and address that, but whether it's structurally sound or not has never really been part of the blighted properties ordinance. That would be subject of a chapter 54, or what used to be the chapter 54, and I don't believe we have an engineer's inspections or a report in our records that has made a determination as to its structural integrity. It was simply based upon those factors that are set forth in the blighted properties law, which again are external considerations, not internal considerations.
Right. So would it be acceptable to the county to allow us access to the building so that we could look at the inside of the building?
Good afternoon, members of the town board. Lisa Azzato with the Suffolk County Attorney's Office, Dennis M. Bound, Suffolk County Attorney. I have some photographs here of the repairs that have been made to the building already. I believe that this is everything that the town had requested. Just by way of background, myself, Donna Wade from our inventory unit, Mr. Howard, and your code inspection
Richard Downs.
officer,
That's
Mr.
right.
Downs, went to the property last Thursday. We walked around the property. They addressed everything that they wanted to see corrected. We immediately took action. Within 24 hours, a work order was in place. By Sunday, the work was done. Here are some photographs of the repairs that have been made. I'd like to approach if you don't mind.
I was actually down there this morning.
You can have confidence that it's looking good.
While you're walking up, those photographs and those depictions were also circulated by email, so I think you all would have received those from Deputy Town Attorney Howard, because he did send photographs around by email on
Yes.
Monday, I believe.
Right, I forwarded those photographs to Mr. Howard on Monday, and it was my understanding that he was gonna send it to you all.
He did, he did, it was sent, and I received a copy of his email.
And we are working under the notice of public hearing from August of this year. I know that Councilwoman Giglio mentioned a number of other notices. The prior notice from March was something that we had been dealing very consistently with the town on, and I don't, having watched some of the public hearing on public access, it seemed that perhaps the town board was under the impression that the county was not being responsive, but from my own part, I can represent to you that upon receiving the March notice, I reached out to Mr. Howard, tried to schedule a meeting to go over any issues that you had, and we have been working diligently to try and address any concerns that you have. The prior notice that was sent by the town was not sent to us, it was sent to the prior owner.
Oh, okay.
So our
I
first
stand
knowledge
corrected
of
then.
it
Okay.
was the March notice, and within 2 weeks, I had a meeting scheduled to try and address those issues. So I want to dispel any kind of impression that you might have that we're not taking this seriously. And we've been coming to the various meetings, and every time that it's been on, other than the first time, it was our understanding that the town wanted to adjourn it, not the county. We're here to try and be responsive to you. As far as whether I, standing here today, can make an agreement, I don't have the authority to do that, but if Mr. Howard wants to reach out to me and tell me what it is you're looking for, I'm happy to move that up the chain of command and see what can be done. But as far as what I understand to be the issues that were of concern to the town board, I believe that they've been addressed above and beyond what you've asked for.
I can tell you that because of your relationship, and we know that you've been working very diligently. I have no qualms at all with the county's response, because we had no problems postponing this hearing and suspending it, because we knew that there was a cooperation going on. So that, and I appreciate what the building looks like now. I mean, I went by there this morning, I go by there
Yes.
every day. But, so I think aesthetically, I think that's what, right, the blighted law, that's what we were looking at, with the, just the appearance of the building. As far as the inside structural, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about now. But, no, I think you did a great job, thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is there any projected time frame to resolve the ownership of the property?
There has been a motion pending in the Supreme Court since April of last year, and it remains pending.
Okay.
On that note, I've also, just so that I can keep target of it, added it as one of the e-bounces, so that when a decision is rendered by the court, I'll be included in one of the emails that will go out, so that I'm aware of it as about the same time that
Very
Mrs. Otto
good.
will be made aware of it, so that I can come back to you and say, hey, there's been a decision rendered
Well, it's nice,
what say you?
it's nice for us to know who we want to deal with. you
Right.
know, So it's
Right.
nice to have one person to,
So in the interim, I've also done that so that I can keep track of that court case and hopefully see a decision come back soon.
Very good.
I appreciate your assistance with at the county level, because what was done here did go above and beyond, and we really appreciate that. It was a very nice cleanup job of that building.
Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you.
thanks go to Ms. Wade, who jumped right on top of it and got the job done.
Yes, and it does look much better, and I appreciate that. So I would like to submit these photos for the record, and then also all the emails pertaining to this property that were back and forth between the town attorney and the town board, make them a part of the record before we withdraw it.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
enjoy the rest
Good
of this
job.
beautiful hot day. It'll be cold tomorrow, cold and raining tomorrow. Yes.
Making those part of the record, do I have a first and second to withdraw this public hearing?
I make a move, oh. I'll second.
All right, moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
This public hearing is withdrawn.
The,
And,
well,
and in hindsight.
The action is
When
withdrawn.
we
The
finally
action is
come down to a point where we know who owns this and we can deal with them directly, going, whether it's blighted or going after chapter 54, I mean, it's not a heavy lift to restart that whole process
No,
anyway.
no.
So it's not like it's 6 months to do it, we can do it
No.
relatively quick.
It's just nice that the reaction was done so well with this particular
Yes.
piece of property, because
Yep.
we don't always see it that way, and this was a pleasant surprise.
We got a couple more properties if you just want to practice.
Yeah. Yeah. Right, no, I know.
All right, at this time, I will open the floor for anybody who would like to come up and comment on any of the resolutions.
Hi, Pat Snyder from Riverhead. I want to comment on Resolution 739 to award a bid for update of the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan will guide Riverhead in setting the stage for smart growth by looking at current zoning and making adjustments that are aligned with Riverhead's long-term needs and vision. This is a worthwhile effort that will engage the entire community in discussion and at no cost to the taxpayer. I think it's worthwhile, I think it's a no-brainer, so I approve of that.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Supervisor and members of the board. Eric J. Russo, Van Brunt, Jesuit and Russo, with offices at 140 Main Street, Sayville, on behalf of J. Petroselli Development Associates, Ostrander Property LLC. As the board is aware, we were here before you on September 4th, and we went through our presentation for the application for site plan approval and special permit. The board closed the hearing and gave us 10 days to make a submission as requested by Ms. Giglio, I'm sorry. I have a cold and I apologize. And we submitted that as was indicated here by the town clerk, Ms. Wilhelm, earlier. The reason that we're speaking about resolution number 27, I believe it is today, which is the resolution that's going to be coming before you for approval, is there was a question about the New York State DOT, and there was a concern about the curb cut on Main Street, and I have had conversation, and there are emails that have gone back and forth between the town, myself, and Karen Taylor from DOT, where they're recommending that the curb cut remain for limited access for maintenance purposes, and they're in agreement that sidewalk and curb should be replaced as necessary. We've provided an additional plan. If the board hasn't seen that plan, I have extra copies because I know there was a concern last time you didn't receive plans directly from the planning department. If you would like them, I have 12 copies here. I can provide one for each board member, one for the town clerk, and I know that the planning department may have received them. If not, if they still need them, I have extra copies. That being said, we've reviewed the proposed recommendation resolution from the town planning department, and we have provided and corrected. There was questions about title. They've all been cleared up. There's no gap in title. And why we are here today questioning and commenting on the resolution, Mr. Petroselli is also with me today, And we're asking that the board, as part of the resolution of approval today, allow the project to continue with construction. As the board's familiar, this project has been ongoing since the request in 2017 to keep the Howell House. And we're now at the point that we're in the fall, and construction needs to continue. We had plans that we submitted to Brad Hammond previously for the elevator, as well as the interior of the building and the site. And we're asking that the board allow, as part of this resolution, to include a permit authorization that while my office is working and clearing up all the cross-access and covenants that are being imposed by the resolution, that you would allow the applicant to continue so that if they're working on it now and not waiting until all of that is cleared up, which may take till the end of November or December, they can be working on it and would be able to open in the spring. So that's part of our request, and Mr. Petroselli is sitting here, and if you have questions about the construction and this request, we have to finish the interior, we have to do site work, there are trucks that have to come on site that will help us with the elevator construction and the interior, and then we have to put down the asphalt parking lot and finish the grading and drainage that's there so that we have it done before plants close in November. So that's part of our request, if you're willing to. I did have discussions with Mr. Murphy and Ms. Gluth about this, and they said it would be something that I would have to present to the board for the board's
I
consideration.
think it's unprecedented.
It is unprecedented, but this particular property is a diamond in the rough that we're trying to renovate and have complete on Main Street. We have gates that were being proposed for the front that we've provided photographs, and we need to keep this moving because you, as well as the property owner, want to see Main Street restored. And unprecedented as it is, Architectural Review Board, the commission, as well as the Architectural Review Board for Landmark and Architectural, have been in agreement about this and trying to get it restored. And there's been a lot and substantial investment on behalf of the property owner, and we've worked in tandem with you, and we're looking to try and complete this so that there's no disruption on Main Street or with the project. So we'd ask and respectfully request your consideration towards that end, that while we finish everything, the construction can continue because the plans are before you and have been reviewed.
And thank you for getting the approval from the DOT before keeping the driveway in there, that the curb cut is in place. It was a concern of mine. So I'm glad that.
And I was aware of that, and I was riding them for the last week.
You did a good job.
Thank you.
I know that we have several people from our planning department. Did you want to come up and comment now, or did you want to wait till we vote on the resolution? I think now is, yeah, it's fine. Jeff, did you want to come up and address the board also, please?
I just wanted to explain that since the board originally probably saw the resolution, I did include 2 paragraphs, whereases about the DOT comments.
This is the resolution we were handed by Jay.
Right, that's
Okay.
that's the latest one.
Okay.
So we did get DOT comments yesterday saying that they were okay with the existing curb cut on East Main Street. So the resolution was amended to reflect that. DOT did say they were okay with the existing curb cut, but they wanted the sidewalk replaced and those existing stairs removed. The resolution as it's written does allow for the construction of the elevator tower without getting the Mylar signed. Mr. Russo is requesting that all of the legal paperwork, covenants, I believe, as well as cross-access and parking agreements be part of, I would guess, the CO, since we wouldn't be including that as part of signature of the Mylar. So, but that, I leave that up to the board, and
we're gonna have Jeff address us on. Karen, I just wanna, were the markers in here for the parking spaces?
The plan actually shows
The plan
them.
shows, okay.
Oh, and also, the town attorney does have that information requested as part of the title search that was missing, but they have to review it.
Okay.
Karen, I mean, I do see resolve in here for, the elevator tower revised are hereby approved pending certain conditions, so.
Right, so there's a bunch of conditions. Basically, there's some minor changes that need to be made to the Mylar. We need the digital copy, the certification of clean title to the satisfaction of the town attorney, and then it's all these cross-access
So
and.
some of these conditions are prohibiting the zoning board to do this.
Well, I did put in resolution, condition number 20, that approval of this resolution shall allow the issuance of a building permit for the elevator tower. So they could continue on with building the elevator tower, but it indicates before they get a building permit for the rest of the site work, they'd have to meet all of these conditions.
And Jeff, do you want to address that portion of the
Yeah,
question
this
we're
is,
being asked?
Jeff Murphy for the record. We understand the significance and beauty of this house, and we've been working very closely with Mr. Russo, Mr. Petroselli, up to, including today, and amending the resolution to try to accommodate their needs as best as possible. We addressed the DOT comments as of yesterday going in today. We addressed the issue of the elevator tower as of late yesterday afternoon, early this morning. Copies were provided of those revised conditions to Mr. Russo, as well as to yourself. So I think you've seen that there's an intent by staff to work with the applicant to address his needs going forward. The elevator shaft foundation, I believe, is in, Joe. It just stopped because they didn't have site plan approval. So he's in position to start tomorrow and resume construction of that and resume construction of the interior renovations and the building modifications. He already has a building permit for that. It's the rest of the site work that is in question. So.
And that would be what, the parking?
The parking lot,
area?
the paving, the grading, all the exterior, the landscaping, that sort of thing. Even if, under the best circumstances, if he didn't get the request he's asking for, I don't know if he can get the landscaping in this year because he's still got a substantial amount of site work he's got to do. We're entering into the winter months now. September, October are your primary months for planting. Obviously, with all the site work, he's not going to do the landscaping now, so the best he would be getting this year would be a temporary certificate of occupancy until such time as he could plant the plants. But it all depends on the weather. Last year, as you recall, we had a very mild winter. The plants were open very, very late, so it was not an issue, and the builders are very happy about that. If we get a cold winter and the plants shut down early, it's going to affect not just Mr. Petroselli, it's going to affect all construction along Island. So it's a gamble, it's a crapshoot, so to speak, in terms of do we grant this now? If we go forward with what Eric is asking for, this is the first time since I've been working for Riverhead or elsewhere that we'd be basically giving him site plan approval, and then all the conditions will be satisfied prior to certificate of occupancy. So usually you get a signed map before you allow site work to begin. Here we'd be allowing site work to begin until we get basically an as-built as a certificate of occupancy. So we seem to be missing that step of getting the map signed so everybody knows what he's intending to build and what the town board is going to approve. So
this is not something we've done before, ever?
I've never seen it done before.
So Jeff, would there be a concern with something like this, that you set a precedent and then other projects make similar requests?
I've seen similar requests in the past, and we've done this elsewhere in other communities where we've allowed, for example, when you have a high mountain community with an early snow season, you allow the contractors to put those foundations in now while the rest of the plan reviews are underway for the framing, because they can frame during the winter, they just can't pour the foundation when it's 30 degrees outside. So we have issued foundation-only permits in the past here and in other communities. To do all the site work now before the map is signed, that's unusual.
Well, I can tell you that the property's unique and the location's unique, so I don't see it being present setting, because I think it just has characteristics all its own that probably is not going to be matched anywhere, as far as I know. It's just me.
So it's up to the board. It just creates a little bit more of a headache for staff, for us to kind of keep up after them to make sure that all the documentations, everything is done so that the work is not completed before the map is signed.
And
So-
we have none of the covenants in place for the cross-access or any of that?
We don't have that yet. That's one of the
that-
conditions of approval.
That'll be prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for the building, is that correct?
Right now, it's, we would get that before the,
Before the Mylars are signed?
The
But
Mylar's
I'm
signed.
saying the way it's in the,
that as it exists today.
okay.
Right. then we'd have to change all the conditions to reflect certificate of occupancy.
I'm sorry, can you clarify that?
The cross-access is through all his own property.
Just to clarify, there's three properties involved here. One is the Preston House, and then this project is the Howell House and the parking lot behind. Normally, we wouldn't have all these differing agreements between the properties. If they were, typically they would be all merged together, it would be one ownership. Here we have three different ownerships, although they're all affiliated with Mr. Petroselli. So that's the reason why. I mean, theoretically, a piece of property could be change hands, and how would that affect everything? So basically, right now, before they would get a building permit, we'd have to get a revised plan, a Mylar, and paper plans showing some, like I said, some minor changes to the plan, like labeling the driveway as for maintenance purposes only, showing any changes required by DOT as per their October 1st correspondence, showing the fence on the property line to the north instead of within the existing hedge, and clarifying the location of the fire department connection and that it wouldn't be blocked by vegetation as per the fire marshal. So I believe what is being suggested is items G through M on page 7, covenants, cross-access, parking agreement, an agreement about the dumpster and the parking on the separate parcel from the use. Those would all be moved, items G through M, to under item number 22. They would have to be done before a certificate of occupancy would be issued.
And typically, how long does it take to do items G through M?
It's, a lot of it has to do with the applicant's attorney and how quickly they submit them to the town attorney's office for review.
Yeah, that was just a conversation I was having with Mr. Russo, that I'm sure he could get all this done within a week.
My cold is getting better as we speak.
So, I just wanted to clarify what the change would be. So items G through M would be put under 22, items to be done for issuance of a CO.
So I can clarify for the town board. There are 4 parcels of property here in question. There's the Preston House Hotel and Restaurant, which is one parcel. There's the Howell House LLC parcel. There's the Petroselli Ostrander parcel, which is the parking lot. And then the applicant also owns the parcel immediately to the north, which is not a subject of the application. So all the properties in question are controlled by the applicant. This is different and it's unique from any other application that you have had before you, because usually those cross-access agreements have to do with varying other parties. All the parcels of property are controlled by the applicant. So the applicant's ability to respond to the issue and request for covenants will be able to sign all of the documents when we submit them to the town clerk and to the town attorney's office for review. We've already ordered title and cleared up the title as I suggested to you. We haven't prepared any of the covenants. They're in draft, and the cross-access easements are in draft. That will happen, and I assure you on behalf of the applicant it will. Again, I would like the applicant to address the reason that, as I stated earlier, this is unique, and this is something that, as far as the fire department or the fire district is concerned, there is a new RPZ being proposed. There is a new water main being proposed. And the purpose of those is to ensure that there's a fire sprinkler system in the Howell House itself. So that is in the process of being addressed. As far as the sewer district, we've already been told by Suffolk County DPW and also your sewer district that there's adequate supply for this particular location. So all of the issues that are a concern are a work in progress and will be continued. So if the board is inclined to grant permission for the construction, it will move forward. And if we have a mild winter, the plantings will be done as well. And I'll let Mr. Petroselli address.
I still want to go back items G through M.
G
So
through-
those are all covenants for the cross-access. And the question, I believe, was how long will it take to have those completed by, I would assume that would be.
We can
yours.
prepare them and get them signed, then they get submitted to the town attorney's office. The town attorney's office has to review them, and there has always been concerns that things needed to be reworded, reworked, and redone and approved, and the title issues have to be verified. So that could take, conceivably, 3 to 4 weeks.
But I'm asking on your half, on your
On my
behalf to
half,
submit.
we could probably be done with it within 10 business days, somewhere in there. But then, we're not gonna get them signed until they're reviewed by the town. And I know the town has many pressing issues in the law department that you have. So I don't know exactly where that would fall in priority, but I'm sure they would work with us. They've always been very cooperative, both Mr. Kazakevich and Ms. Calamita.
Okay.
And Mr. Petroselli would like.
I just would like to ask one more question of Mr. Murphy. So on this, for item 21,
Uh-huh.
for the building permit for the remainder of the work to be done, it is only, I'm not quite understanding. Everything will be in place except items G through M, which we will, if granted, we would allow that to be moved to, into 22 with the no temporary, the CO, I'm not quite following.
So we're looking at what she's
Right,
asking.
so basically, items G through M would be moved from item 21 to under item 22.
And all other items under 21 would be
Right, the
completed?
revised plan, the digital copy of the plan, the 6 paper sets of the plan, and the clean title, which Laura has received those documents, she just has to review it.
Good, let's do it.
So we're just being asked to allow the covenants to,
The covenants, the cross-access, all the legal agreements would be under a certificate before issuance of a CO.
and that would be the only thing that would be a change from our normal procedure?
Correct.
Okay.
Other than the elevator tower, which
Okay,
we've
which
already
we've
agreed
already,
upon.
we've already agreed to, okay.
A through F.
Right, G through M would move under
As well
CO.
as F, we already provided that.
Well, Laura still has to look at it. She told me she'd look at it today. I don't foresee any issue with that.
We just want to make sure that we have the permit in place. So I'll just give you one, for example, like the fire marshal permit needs to be submitted and reviewed by the fire marshal's office. We had a case where a developer, and not Mrs. Petroselli, another developer, got the fire marshal permit, or did not get the fire marshal permit, and he jumped the gun, installed the fire main without getting it reviewed, and it required an additional fire hydrant, which caused him to have to go back and undo some of the work he already done. So we just want to make sure that we're not getting too ahead of ourselves, that's all.
So is that something that needs to be included in here, or reworded in any
Nope.
particular way?
Nope, it's just a heads up for everybody, because I don't think Joe wants to do work and then have to undo it again if he doesn't have the right approvals from the fire marshal office. I'm just using that one as an example.
And didn't we do this for the cogen facility at Eastern Fence? That we gave them the permit for that prior to the site plan and the.
We split that out first and gave
Yes.
them site plan approval, and then got the building permit, so he got everything done for that, and it was reviewed. I just wanna make sure we get the building permit and the fire marshal permit issued before
Yep,
Mr.
before the
Petroselli.
first frost.
Hmm?
Before the first frost.
Yeah, but what we're saying is before we get the covenants and everything signed, we're gonna get that building permit and fire marshal permit, so we get those reviews done before
And no
Mr.
covenant,
Petroselli.
no covenants were needed on that.
Right, and so
correct?
we just don't want the work starting before the permits are reviewed and issued. That's the big concern that I have.
So if we supported this, then that could happen.
No, because we're going to go ahead and issue the building permits and all that, but we're just not going to have items G through M or whatever it is on page, on the,
21, right.
I'm sorry.
So.
I know.
So we would take off for the remainder of,
Correct, for the remainder of this work, so they can do the work, but they can.
right. They would have to submit these items.
The revised
before the
plans and all
remain-
that, right.
They get the building permit for the remainder of the work. Right, so the only thing that would change, as we said, was G through M being
Right.
moved. Right, okay.
Okay.
Good. I want to hear those hammers every day.
Okay. Eric, you good with that?
Did you want to address?
He's,
Mr. Petroselli.
Good afternoon, Joe Petroselli, of J. Petroselli Development. I just wanted everybody to understand that the joining of those properties, they couldn't be joined because we have an IDA on the Preston, and the pieces are separate in that matter. Also, just a little history, I came in here in, I think, 2015 for a demolition permit of the Howell House. With the town's help and with working with the town, we agreed to keep the house, because that was initially was going to be the parking lot. So I wouldn't be standing here today at all if I had my way then. But moving along, we did receive a facade permit to clean it up, and that was in 2016. We got a facade permit from Brad. And we're at this point today still trying to get this house in shape. Since then, I've had busted windows, and I'm actually ready to board it up again because it's been sitting there so long. I got people going in there at night. It's just getting out of hand, what's going on with that building. So I'm asking to continue with the elevators because I have an elevator sitting in a warehouse for over a year and a half. That is probably by the time I get it up, there'll be a new ADA law by the time I'm able to build it. So I'm asking just to keep moving along because without movement on that house, things are happening. So it's, and I don't know, you know, Eric is talking about 10 days and 2 weeks and a month and then the snow will fall and here we are. So I'm asking to just keep me going over there.
I know you've been buying a lot of property to add on to the one property, which was the Preston House. Do you have any intentions of selling any of these properties by the time you get the covenants and restrictions and site plan
No.
approved? Okay, thank you.
Why would I do that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That was brought up earlier, so I just wanted clarity from you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, does that
Madam
address?
Supervisor and members of the board, Mr. Murphy asked, the question was about submitting the revised plan and proceeding with the building permit. I have no problem with that, and we will continue with due diligence to get you the covenants, the cross-access, et cetera, so that everything is in place. I mean, my commitment to this has been, as you see, just with the New York State DOT, to get what you needed in order to continue and make sure that everybody was satisfied.
So Karen's suggestion to take G through Z or whatever.
M.
G through M, and move that into section 22, will that suffice? Will that help?
I believe that will allow us to get to where we need to be with the permit, from my understanding and discussion with Mr. Murphy and Karen. And F is already in hand, waiting review from the town.
Gotta like that up.
Well, we can expect to see these covenants come across the town attorney's desk within approximately 10 days or so?
I'll do my best.
All right. Okay. Any questions from anybody else? Jeff, did you want to address the board at all again?
No, I want to thank you, and it's too bad you do so much work with the town of Riverhead, Mr. Russo, because you could probably really help us out with New York State DOT and getting the quick response from them that you did.
They now know my name and phone number.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, is anybody else that wanted to come up and comment on any resolutions?
Yes, good afternoon, Madam Supervisor and the Town Board. My name is Mark Mensch. I'm with North Fork Express Bus Company. Commenting on item 19 on the agenda, there's the 740 on the bid award to Hampton Jitney on the charter work that's done in the town.
What's the resolution? I'm sorry, 7 what?
It's 740, number 19 on.
Okay.
Good. In the original bid documents that were submitted or given to both our company and to Hampton Jitney, the grid that outlined the pricing for the different buses included several items that were buses that were outdated and no longer in service by any company. And the options were really unclear on how you would then respond to the bid. We chose to add an addendum to the sheet. Unfortunately, when we added the addendum, our price list was also not included in that. In Hampton Jitney's response to the list of equipment that was put there, they chose to white out the documents and then list the equipment, which is the equipment that both of us use now. So we just felt that it was an unfair way to really answer or respond to the bid. We did send an email to the town attorney, and he did review it and let us know that he still felt that the whiteout by Jitney didn't cause reason for concern or a basis for the bid to be rejected or put back out. We still hold that we would like to have that bid, thrown back out so that both of us could respond to a fair bid the right way with the proper equipment listed there. It just makes it cleaner. That's just the opinion that we still hold. So I'm here today for you to ask to consider that before awarding it, just maybe to then put it back out, and then this way both of us could respond to the bid the right way and have it clean. It's fair. It wouldn't be that one person would be whiting it out and then adding an addendum to it, which just left an opportunity for us to make an error in submitting that, and we want to be able to have a clean shot at getting that work. So we're asking that for you today.
Yeah, and there was also a line in the bid that said that no changes could be made, correct?
Correct. There was,
Bidding war going.
so
We'll get a lot
that's
more money.
what we were holding on that. Well, whiteout seems to be a change, so why not then reject it and just put it out with the proper listing of equipment, and then this way we could have a fair playing field.
Okay, thank you, I think.
Thank you.
I was made aware of this, so I did ask, it was Deputy Town Attorney Anne Marie who was involved in the discussion on emails.
Right.
And as you noted, the change that was made on the Hampton Jitney bid was just to change the size of the buses.
Size of the buses, right.
The bid specs, the bid pricing was not whited out, that was original.
Right.
As she also pointed out, there are a number of other things that are set forth in the bid where the town could waive irregularities or other items. So the overall opinion was that we could proceed with the bid should the board decide to do so.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. So we'll discuss when we come up to that resolution.
I apologize. In reading the resolution and discussing it further with Mr. Murphy and Ms. Gluth, item number 2 in the resolution also has to be relocated, and they can confirm that, because that would have to be put with the other covenants and restrictions. I didn't see that at first.
I'm sorry,
You get to call.
In the resolved,
okay.
item number 2 says a covenant containing all
Containing all
the limitations.
Mm-hmm.
That entire paragraph would also have to get shifted, in my opinion, with the G through M portion of the resolution.
Well, it looks like it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's just like a boilerplate, item 2 on page 4. We also have, in G on page 7, we talk about the covenants as well and refer to item number 2. So we can just move.
So take, in the second resolved, you're taking item number 2 and moving it to section 22?
No, we're moving it to section,
22?
I don't think you need it.
right, it's gonna be,
We'll move.
item G talks about covenants. We'll
Right.
just consolidate number 2 and item G.
Yeah, I don't think.
Okay, and I think we should probably take off the part about the resolution not becoming effective until the covenant is
Oh,
recorded.
you're killing me on this one.
So we're gonna we'll take that
Why don't
off
we
as
just-
well.
Karen, what?
I can amend it,
Could you? Yeah.
and,
Right, strike out
Yeah,
the
because
last three
you're going back and
sentences.
forth between 2.
I get it, but it is addressed. Number 2 in its entirety is addressed.
would you like me
under G,
to
anyway.
change it and come
Right.
back before you vote on it?
Yes, please.
Okay, I can do that.
This way
Good.
it's
You've
clean.
got 7
Okay.
minutes.
Get a
Wait.
clean sheet.
Don't hurt yourself running over there.
We'll move it to the last thing. So you got 3 hours.
All right.
Make Gary wait around a little bit longer.
Anybody else want to come up and comment on anything? Seeing nobody, we will move on to resolutions. As a first order with the resolutions, if I could, I believe that you all got the street lighting capital project budget adoption. We'd like to take that off the floor if possible. We can have Drew come up and address that if you like.
You're taking this off the floor
Yes,
first,
yes,
and you're gonna label it number what? You're gonna go-
0.
0. We can
mean
name it resolution.
760 or something?
760.
Is there, why can't we do this at the end?
Just because we have Drew here, so I wanted to just
Oh,
kinda-
Drew,
yeah.
I forgot, yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot he worked here.
Drew in the short time around.
So, could I have a first and second to take resolution 760 off the floor, which is a street lighting capital project budget adoption?
I move we take resolution 760 off the floor.
And I'll second.
Moved and
Catherine's motion.
seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
I just want to bring up a point that the Brookhaven bid is expiring in May of 2020. So if this work is not completed in May of 2020, the prices are going to jump up significantly. I have spoken to the town engineers about it, and they have indicated to me that they would be ordering the equipment. They should be getting it here within 2 to 4 weeks, and then the contractor could begin the work, which could take, you know, anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks, depending on how many
Do we
men.
want to take it off the floor and then we can untable it and then we can discuss it?
Yes, I'll repeat everything I just said. Yes, we'll take it off the floor. Yes, to take it off the floor.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Okay, resolution 760 is taken off the
Okay,
floor.
and then I'm gonna do a first and second, and then we'll do this discussion.
Okay.
Can I have a first and second, for street lighting capital project budget adoption?
Motion.
Second.
Moved and second, discussion.
So, as I said, the Brookhaven contract that was bid several years ago is expiring in May of 2020. This work has to be done in order to hold those prices on the Brookhaven contract, which is what we're going off of. The town engineers have assured me that they will order the equipment will get here within 2 to 4 weeks, then the contractor can begin the work. Hopefully, it's gonna take him, you know, he'll get it all done before May of 2020, and if not, these prices are jumping up significantly. So, I think that it's a good idea, it's something that needs to be done, and it'll be a significant savings. We've already done some of the conversions of the streetlights to LED. I do have some concerns about the gap in lighting, because we are using existing pole locations. But I think it's a step in the right direction as far as saving the taxpayers' money and the lighting district money. So, you know, I'll vote, I'm going to vote for it, but I just wanna caution the board that we need to keep these contractors moving so that we can get this completed before May of 2020, when the prices are gonna jump up.
And can I have somebody from engineering who would like to come up and address those concerns?
Another short timer.
Does he still work for us?
I'm still here. Good afternoon. Thank you guys for putting our resolution before you. We have reached out to the contractor from the town of Brookhaven. He has assured us that the project should be completed by the end of the year. Once the work is begun, we're expecting somewhere in the range of 8 to 12 weeks of completion. The reason why, you know, we're trying to move things forward is to lock in that price. We will order all of the fixtures. As soon as we get permission to do so, we will place our order and get our material on its way. And a third of it's already done. That was done over the last few years, and so this will bring the other 2/3, about 3,500 fixtures, to LED. We're in the process of doing our homework to get that the construction of it streamlined. So,
And where are the fixtures going to be stored?
well, we have room in our warehouse, in street lighting warehouse. The shipment will, the fixtures will arrive in multiple shipments.
Okay.
Approximately 3 shipments, a tractor-trailer load each time, so you can understand quite how large of amount of space we'll need, so we can't obviously have it all in one shot. So over the course of probably 2 or 3 months, we'll have the 3 shipments brought here. But once we issue a PO, the price is locked in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So once you issue the PO, you have the prices locked in for everything? So
Yes.
there will not be any fluctuation on that?
No, we've already reached out to the supplier. The methodology that we're using is sort of industry standard of, you know, multiple shipments. Everybody else is in the same boat we are. Nobody can store 20,000 lights or 3,000 lights in one shot. So multiple shipments is normal. It also allows the contractor to have breathing room, and so that he can divvy up the work
Right.
under our guidance accordingly.
How many lights are you think, 20,000?
No. The town of Brookhaven is doing 20,000, but just so you understand a grasp of how many lights get ordered in one shot, we're doing about 3,500. So we have roughly 3 shipments.
Excellent. Good
Thank you very
job.
much.
Thank you.
You got it, you got a 5-month cushion.
Any other discussion? So, moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent? Yes. Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes. And,
Resolu-
yep, go ahead.
You wanna go?
No, go ahead.
Okay, resolution adopted.
And just also on this, when we went out for the bonding, we were lucky enough when we went out to the bonding, the interest rates were very low. When we had originally projected while we're paying off the bond, that would save about $20,000, we'll now be saving about $40,000 a year in the first 5 years while we pay off the bond, due to the reduction in costs, and then about $250,000 every year after that, for the life of the lights, which is about another approximately 15 years.
Oh, that's another thing that I wanted to bring up too, is GE and the stability of GE in the market and whether or not the replacement lights will be available in 20 years. But I guess we'll address that in 20 years.
Yeah, really.
Or during the
won't be
warranty
doing that.
period, or what have you.
Believe me.
The warranty period.
All right, so now we will
20
move
days.
on to resolutions.
Okay, resolution 722.
I just have to get up my computer.
Oh.
722
Go
is
ahead.
Town Hall Boiler Budget Adoption. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
I don't know, I like it kinda cool in here.
But you'll be able to adjust it even cooler when you need it now.
Well, if I want heat on in here. Yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Oh, I did this wrong. Wooten?
Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 723.
723 is authorizes town to provide funding assistance in 2020 and 2021 for Riverhead Community Awareness Program. So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 724.
Authorizes the Justice Court to make a grant application through the JCAP program for the purchase of office furnishings. So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 725.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute an agreement with the County of Suffolk Office for the Aging. It's the AAA Transportation Program. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
Are these for the many people? Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 726.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute an agreement with Coastal Enterprises LLC for utilization of town police personnel and vehicles, non-pro-tunc police assistance upon portion of Middle Country Road, Calverton, for pavement line markings in front of the Tractor Supply Corps. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 727.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute an agreement with County of Suffolk, acting through its duly constituted youth bureau. So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 728.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute a retainer agreement with Lane M. Bupka Esquire of Bupka Law Group for legal services for the Riverhead Youth Court 2019-2020 year. So moved.
Seconded? Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 729.
Authorizes execution of memorandum of understanding with Suffolk County District Attorney and law enforcement agencies that participate in the East End Drug Force, EEDTF. So moved.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 730.
This ratifies the execution of MOA with Civil Service Employees Association Incorporated, the Local 1000, AFSCME, AFL-CIO Riverhead Unit of the Riverhead of Suffolk Local 852. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 731.
Accepts the retirement of a Justice Court clerk. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yeah, congratulations to Brenda and best of the luck to her in her retirement.
Giglio?
Ditto what Tim said, and yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 732.
Accepts the resignation of the assistant town engineer. I'm not sure I want to motion this. Motion, so moved.
Not sure I want to second it, but I will.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Well, it's certainly been a real honor working with Ernesto since I came into office. He's an outstanding employee, he's very dedicated, and I'm certainly inclined to vote no on this, but I will vote yes. Best of luck, Ernesto.
Hubbard?
I'm only voting yes because I know it's the right thing for your family. You will be missed here, and where you're going, we'll be getting a great employee. Best of luck to you. Yes.
Giglio?
Yes, and best of luck to you in your new endeavor.
Wooten?
No.
I knew that was coming.
Does that? Jen Smith?
Yes, and Ernesto, you'll be missed, and we wish you the best of luck in your new endeavors. You will be missed.
Resolution 733.
Get the tissues out. Is this me?
Yeah.
Okay. Appoints a temporary part-time assistant town engineer. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
And just like that, yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 734.
Appoints a call and recreation staff to the Recreation Department. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 735.
Appoints traffic control specialists to the police department. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
And these were members that had come out of, from other towns from the traffic control specialist training that we gave the proclamations earlier, and they decided that they wanted to work for Riverhead, so welcome aboard, and yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 736.
Terminates agreement with employees. So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes, thank you, Anne Marie, for stepping up in our time of need.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 737.
Authorizes attendance at Fall Erosion Control Field Day Training Seminar. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 738.
It's attendance of one police department employee to the MPTC Defense Tactics Instructor class. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 739.
Catherine.
Yep, it's you, Kathy.
Oh, there you go. They changed it up. Awards bid for update of the Town of Riverhead Comprehensive Master Plan and authorizes expenditure of community benefit funds. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
I just want to say a few things. So the cost was originally $775,000. The Community Development Agency, after discussions with the one of the bidders who were giving it to, AKRF, the price got reduced to $100,000, by $100,000. So I want to thank the CDA for working with the professional services and the town attorney in making that happen, where the price was reduced down to $675,000. The fiscal impact statement does not say where that $675,000 is coming from. And in the resolution body itself, it refers to $300,000 from one of the community benefit funds, $300,000 from the other, and $200,000 from the promote and protect agricultural. That comes to $800,000, so the cost is $675,000.
No, the 300,000 is in the fund, and they're accessing 200 from
Okay,
each
but
one of those
the
funds.
fiscal impact should say that, and it doesn't.
It says it in the resolution. It says that there's 300,000 that is is the total of that fund, and of that 300,000, 200,000 is being accessed from that fund for this project.
Okay, let me just check that, because I read it, and I read it, and I read it, and I'm not seeing that, so I just wanna.
While you're looking that up, I do want to thank Dawn and Anne Marie again for negotiating such a much better price for us on this, and I look forward to moving forward with this, something that's very needed.
I'm gonna take them to the car dealership next time I buy a car.
Yes.
So it says, whereas the town seeks to accept the recommendation of the review committee, it says the community benefits funds from promotion and protection of agricultural open space initiative in the amount of 200,000 and protection and promotion improvement of the environment initiative in the amount of 200,000 to fund the update of the master plan. Then it says for agriculture and open space, the expenditure plan is 300,000 and requires that the expenditure of funds achieve or be in furtherance of one or more of the following goals: preservation of farmland, open space. I don't see where in there it says that only 200,000 is going to be spent out of that. And then in the next paragraph, it says, the town of Riverhead protection and promotion improvement of the environment initiative total expenditure plan is 300,000, and I don't see where it says that there's only 200,000 being spent out of that. So, it's confusing to me the way it's written, and when I read 300, 300, and 200, I come up with 800,000, so that's why I went to the fiscal impact statement to see if that was filled out, to see how much would be pulled out of each fund, and it's not there. So I just want Bill to tell us how much is coming out of each fund.
Bill, do you want to come up and address the board?
So there's $200,000 coming out of each of the agriculture and open space initiative and the improvement of the environment initiative. So there's $200,000 coming out of each. There was 300, so that would leave the 100,000 left in there. So only 400,000 is coming out of the community benefit program.
So where is the other 275,000 to fund the study coming from?
Well, this resolution doesn't have it, but there's 275 will be coming out of the money that was put into trust and agency from the Gentile line, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Gentile line. There's 450,000 in trust and agency from the Gentile line, of which 275 will come out of that.
But, so there's 475 for the Gentile, is what you're saying?
There's 450 in trust and agency from the Gentile line.
And didn't we take out 175,000 for the pattern book out of there?
Yes, I think we did.
No, we took that out of one of the other, let me grab my notes.
That's correct. That's correct, where that's coming from.
So 275,
Unless you did something. Yeah.
Right, so that would leave 400.
Yes, that's right.
So that would leave 10,000 then left in the trust and fund balance, right? For the 175, and then the 275
Is 450.
440, then that would leave 10,000 left in trust.
It would be
and-
450.
450, right, 450, that would be left in, okay, so that eliminates that, so trust and agency is now 0. So that's 450,000 that we spent on a pattern book, and then 275,000 that's going towards the master plan, and now we're taking, I think the resolution should be amended, actually, to say that we're taking, because it says, you have all three accounts in here. So, why do you have all three accounts in here? 200,000, 300,000, and 300,000 if they're not all being accessed?
I think what Jody's referring to is the whereases in the resolution.
Yeah.
Where it says the total expenditure in the community benefit, the total amount in the account versus what is being used for this project.
Yep.
So I think that's where her confusion is coming in.
Well, that's
So
where I
it's-
want it to be
it's-
clear, I'm not really confused, it doesn't say it.
What? Bob, do you want to address that? The way the whereases are written?
Well, if it says, is authorized to disperse funds from the Community Benefit Fund from the Promotion and Protection of Agriculture and Open Space Initiative in the amount of 200, and Protection and Promotion / Improvement of the Environmental Initiative in the amount of 200,000, so that gets you to the 400,000. Related to the update of the comprehensive plan, so, after the 200, between 200 and related, put the word "and" the amount of 275,000 from the trust and agency account.
Yeah. I think the resolved,
And that would, I think, address the concern, would it
I
not?
think the second resolved needs to be changed to include all the funding sources, because it
Well,
only
that's what he just
includes
did.
one.
That's what he just did.
Yeah, that's what Bob, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so,
Exactly what he just did.
all right, so
I mean,
we're
I don't know
taking-
what that trust and agency
The
account is,
resolve-
but,
The resolve is including the two from the community benefit fund.
correct.
Right, we wanna
Equaling
add-
400,000. So
Correct.
you wanna put another resolve.
Can do
taking
another
the
resolve
275
that would
from
specifically
the
identify that other account. I mean, actually, now that you say it, that would probably be cleaner, do a whole nother resolve.
Yeah, well, this resolution did not give the authority to spend the 675, just the 4. So adding the 275 in there will allow the actual transfer and spending of the additional 275.
That's correct.
Okay. So,
I don't have the specific wording, but.
Just add the third source. Okay.
Yeah. So what I think what was just indicated from financial administrator makes more sense. Instead of trying to squeeze it into that third resolved, why don't we do a new fourth resolved and resolve that the financial administrator is authorized to disperse funds from whatever that trust and agency account is in the amount of $275,000. And
okay.
we can work on that and get that
But where
final.
are we in this? We
were up to Jody with the vote.
Okay, so can,
That was that.
Motion to amend?
can we motion to amend after 2 votes have been taken?
I mean,
I'm okay.
yeah, I mean, I think it could be done, yeah.
Do I need to take a vote to amend?
I mean, because there was a discussion.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take
All right,
motion-
so-
Make a motion to amend.
Okay, to make a motion to amend the resolution to add an additional resolve, which allows the financial administrator to disperse from the trust and agency account, what's the name of it?
It's trust and agency security deposits, I believe.
Security deposits,
Yes.
$275,000.
And I would request that the fiscal impact statement be updated and submitted to the clerk so that it's available for anybody that wants to see it.
And
And-
seconded.
And I just have a few more comments, because I think you already voted, Catherine, and I think Tim voted, to amend it.
We're amending it.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
can I have a first and second to amend? You give me a first? Do I have a second to amend?
I
I'd like Councilwoman Kent move
I'll second to amend.
A first and second to amend, and then do I take a vote to amend?
Yes,
A vote to amend?
just on the amendment, right?
Kent,
Yes, to amend.
Hubbard,
Yes to amend.
Giglio,
Yes?
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Okay, we are amending resolution 739.
Okay, now we can go back
Now we
to the
can
other
go back.
resolution, 739, for the rest of my comments. So, when we were going out for an RFP for the master plan, I had recommended that we break out Route 58 downtown and the TDR program, and that wasn't done in the RFP, but we put out the RFP anyway. That was during discussions at work session. And then, when it comes to Route 58 and downtown and the TDR program, I think that those are the things that are most pressing right now. Wading River, we just did an update recently. EPCAL, we just did an update recently and spent a lot of money doing it. We're not really getting a lot of complaints from Jamesport, Calverton, or Aquabog, except from the developers and property owners that want more rights on their properties. I don't really hear a lot of people coming to the podium complaining about projects in those proximities. The town is still broke. We're still raising taxes every year. The school district is busting out the seams and looking at another $100 million bond, where we just did $80 million bond 8 years ago. And the projections for the school district bond don't even include the development on the Southampton side. That wasn't even taken into consideration. And the numbers in the study that the school district did was off, so I think it's gonna cost a lot more money. I think that continuing to raise taxes while spending money on areas in town that are not pressing, where Route 58 downtown and the parking downtown and the, building sizes and things of that nature, I think that's pressing. And the TDR program and preserving farmland, that's pressing. And finding other ways to use those TDRs so that more of them are purchased and more farmland is preserved. But with the tax increases that we're going to be seeing from not only the town, even though we're still staying under the cap, to me, a 0% increase would be fiscally responsible for the town, because the school district 100 million bond is really making it unaffordable to live here in this town. And I think that it could be done with a lot less money, just looking at downtown 58 and the TDRs in SECRA. And another thing is the contract for AKRF is not attached to this document, so for transparency's sake, we should know what the procedure and the protocol and what the contract is gonna look like with AKRF, the group that's doing the study. The town is broke, and we're raising taxes, and we're spending near $1 million between a pattern book and a town-wide comprehensive plan when we've done minor updates along the way. So I'm gonna vote no.
Supervisor, you know that there is an update about Route 58 is in the bid as per drawn up by the deputy town attorney. There is an update about TDRs, so those statements aren't true, Councilwoman. You have to read the bid.
Okay, well, I did read the bid, but the numbers are not broken out as to what it would cost us to just do Route 58 or to just do the TDRs or to just do the downtown study. I mean, we just voted for $175,000 for a pattern book. That was also in the bid for contractors to bid on it separately.
And we all voted to go
Yes.
out for the bid for
I
the
understand.
comprehensive plan.
Okay.
And when we went out for the vote, it was for the comprehensive plan of all of these areas.
Understood.
And that was voted by this board.
Yep, and that was prior to the school district coming out with their $100 million bond proposal.
Well, that's a proposal.
And that, exactly, that's a proposal.
Anyway, that's my vote, no.
Okay. So, but we're not up to that yet, right?
No,
I have a bit of, I have a bit of a concern,
quite a
and a quandary.
Okay.
We had a certain resolution that we started off voting on, and there was a motion to amend in the middle, which probably was not the wisest
But
decision.
we amended the motion, Jody's voting no, and it wasn't her chance, the vote wasn't up to that at this
We
point.
voted for the amendment
Jody,
already.
let me finish
Yeah,
for a
no.
second, would you? We did a first and a second, and then Jody wanted to speak before we called for the vote. So we
Okay,
have
just-
we have a resolution that we amended, that we have a first and second on, that we just had discussion on, and now we call for the vote. Is that
Okay,
not where we are?
that was my concern. I
Yes.
just want to make sure that,
That's
because we
where
had
we're
a
at.
vote on the prior resolution before it was amended, but it was amended and there weren't votes on it.
We only had a
Votes.
first, we
You
only had a first.
two votes on the amendment.
No, not on the amendment. We had two votes on the original
That's what
one.
we said, yes to the amendment.
Jody came, it was up to Jody's
Then
vote.
Jody went
Then
off.
Jody wanted to speak, and after Jody spoke, we agreed to do an amendment. So we amended the resolution. We had a first and second on the amendment, then we
Correct.
opened it for discussion.
And we had two
and-
votes.
And now.
We had
no-
two votes.
No, there were no,
No.
no, there were no
Not
votes
on the
taken.
resolution
Not
as
on the
amended.
amended resolution. So what we're up to now is we have a first and a second, and we can call for a vote on the amended resolution.
That's where I was concerned about.
On the amended resolution.
All right.
Okay, so
You can
Kent.
Do you want to, okay, so before we vote, do we still want to have discussion, or do you want to speak with your vote?
I want to speak with my vote.
Okay, so we have a,
I want
we have
20
a
minutes to
first
talk
and
to.
second vote, please, on the amended resolution to add the additional resolve into the resolution.
But then,
Jody?
we're amending the resolution and voting on the resolution at the same time.
No, we had the resolution, we put the resolution forth, we were in the middle of voting. The board then agreed, after your comments, to amend the resolution to add an additional resolve and go back to first and second it with the new resolve in it, and then have the vote on the amended resolution.
And did we,
If we
and
wanna do it
nobody
clean, I'll
voted
just-
on the amended resolution?
No, not yet.
No.
To amend the resolution.
To amend the
Everyone
resolution
voted
is what we
yes.
did.
Okay.
Right, and
To
the-
amend.
but then we
Okay.
did not vote on the resolution itself.
Right.
As
Okay.
amended.
Right,
We, I
correct.
thought we voted on it as
So,
amended.
no, we
Okay.
voted to amend it.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay,
good Lord.
so now I have a first and second.
Who was the first and second?
I think it was Catherine and
Yeah, why not?
Jim.
Hey.
Okay.
All right, so we have the first and second to vote on the resolution as amended. So, vote, please.
Kent?
So, after all that, let me just say that I believe that all of us up here certainly want to preserve farmland. And we're always working towards that goal. That's one reason we live here, is that we're surrounded by these beautiful farms. But it was the recommendation of our planning department to move, and the attorneys, to move forward with this, you know, all together. And it does make sense to look at the whole town at once. Everything, you know, different areas affect each other. So I'm glad that we're keeping it together. And just as far as doing the master plan update and the pattern book, yes, we are making investments. We are making investments into the future of our town. We're not just slapping Band-Aids on things here and there. We're looking long-term, and I think that's very important to our future and to the future of our children. I vote yes.
Okay. Hubbard?
I'm voting for an instant replay machine to have hanging down up here, so we can go to it. I vote yes.
Giglio?
And I'm gonna recall my comments from the last vote and make them part of this record so I don't have to repeat myself.
Thank God.
So Diane, you'll take all those comments and put them on with
They're
this
all right there.
resolution also? Yes,
They're gonna
great.
be all together.
Very good, thank you.
Okay.
And again, I'm voting no for the reasons that I stated on the previous resolution.
Wooten?
I can tell you now that I'll be done by 4 o'clock. I sat on this committee that looked at both these RFPs, both companies. I'm not one to spend public money, but I can tell, although this isn't taxpayers' money, this is money we had set aside. But Catherine said it right, we gotta invest in ourselves. We are so close to total build-out as far as the original master plan, which, you know, if you look at it, is probably 20 years old, because although it was adopted in 2003, it was discussed long before that. I know the company is looking at TDRs, they're gonna look at the farmers, they're gonna look at all these areas that Jody's concerned about. But I can tell you, I had my roof done on my house, and it cost me $17,000. And the reason it did was because there was a cedar roof, there was an asphalt roof, and then they just covered everything up, made it look pretty when I bought the house. Patchwork is not the way to go. You've gotta look at the town comprehensively, you gotta look at it as a whole. Every community has different needs and wants and desires. And each community has to come forward with this collective reasoning to create a final plan for this town. The one we have is good, it's a good basis, but it's not complete. We have done, as Jody pointed out, rightfully so, to justify this expenditure, done patchwork for the last 10 years with the Wading River corridor study, with DC5 in the East Main Street area. We've been patchworking it and using it to correct things as we grow and as we get towards and really sunset our community with total build out. So it's a good investment, it's a good investment in our future, and believe me, it's money well spent. And I have no problem supporting this and the pattern book, which addresses a particular need with downtown. But the comprehensive plan is a good thing, and I think it'll be probably the last time we ever have to do this, because we are that close to sunsetting our town as far as build-out goes. So I vote yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes, and you know, I think as a town board and as a town elected officials, it's our responsibility. You know, the master plan is not supposed to be a stagnant document. It's something that's actually supposed to be updated every 10 years. And we're, you know, as Jim said, you know, from the start to finish last time, we're almost 20 years out. So I applaud everybody that voted yes to be able to move this forward. I think, you know, as we've all said, you know, to segment this out, I think would be a disservice to the community. You know, as we know with TDRs, there's areas that they want to be sending areas and receiving areas to change. There's Route 58. There's different zoning codes that need to be addressed. There's the build out of the downtown. There's repurposing of the properties and the buildings that we have on 58. And I also think that we need to be concerned about climate change and rising sea tides as we develop items. And you know, the economy has changed. And we need to be able to do some market feasibility studies also, so that we have that proactive approach when we put our zoning in place. So, you know, I think that this is a good product. I know that for years, you guys have been talking about looking at the comprehensive plan and wanting to update the comprehensive plan, and there has always been, you know, we don't have the money to do it. We don't want to put that burden on the property taxes that we ask our residents to help pay to support our community and support the services of the town. And, you know, we were able to do this through community benefit money. We were able to do this through some other contracts that we made and easements that we were able to develop. So I think that this is the perfect time to be able to do this and get it done. So I thank all of you for supporting this, and I absolutely vote yes.
Okay, resolution 739 as amended is adopted. Resolution 740.
I think this is one, awards bid for charter coach transportation 2019-2020 for town of Riverhead. I'd like to make a motion to table this.
Do you want to table, this would be to withdraw this, right? Or do we table if we're gonna rebid it? Or are we just gonna look at it?
I think there's a desire to look at it.
I don't know, I don't know.
I think we might be safer to withdraw it, and then this way, if it's determined it needs to go out for rebid, we don't have to come back to.
If you withdraw it, you'll have to rebid.
You know,
It's done, if you withdraw. If you table, you can still vote on this, or go out to rebid.
Okay, all right, so we'll to table.
I'm just, as a practical matter, that's.
Okay.
And I seconded it.
Okay.
So I have a first and second to table resolution 740. Vote, please.
Kent.
Yes to table.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yeah, I'll support the table only because I really want to know what exactly people are talking about. I want to talk to the town attorney about it, but yes to table.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution 740 is tabled. Resolution 741.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post attached notice for bidders
What?
for street light and traffic signal maintenance repair parts. So moved.
Did you say tax or something? What did you say?
Attached, post attached.
I'll second.
Moved and second, and vote, please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 742.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post the attached notice to bidders for recreation department minibuses.
I just have a question, and Bob, I'd spoken to, this is actually senior department, minibuses. So, should we amend this to say, I know that it's gone out, I'm not sure how to,
Have we separated that department yet?
well, it's.
Ratifies the
it's-
authorization
it's-
for the town clerk.
It's going in tomorrow,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
so how do we do this?
Right, it's too late to pull it.
Can
And it's gonna go in
As
as,
recreation.
yeah.
So ratifies the authorization?
I'm not sure that's the issue.
No,
I think
the
what
issue
we
is
need to do
recreation and
I think we
senior.
need to do a bid addendum, and it probably, because we do that from time to time, we issue bid addendums. I would put it forward the way it is and do the bid addendum to correct the department it's gonna go to.
Okay. Okay,
Because
so,
it's gonna say the attached notice going to the rec department, so it's gonna be very confusing if you
Right,
change the
if you
resolution.
just changed it, yeah.
all right, so I have a first on this, do I have a second?
Second.
Right?
First and second vote, please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
I can tell you, I have never seen the word minibuses and minibus drivers as much as I have this year. I've never, yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 743.
Is that me? Authorization to purchase a used utility truck for use by the Riverhead Water District. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote, please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 744.
Adopts a local law amending Chapter 301 entitled Zoning and Land Development of the Riverhead Town Code, Article 61?
56.
51. No.
56.
56.
56.
That was
All right.
50.
That Riverhead
B is
map.
5.
The site plan review, so moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote, please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 745.
schedules a public hearing on the site plan application of 331 East Main Street LLC, 331 East Main Street, Riverhead, New York, Suffolk County, tax map number 600-129-4-15. So moved.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
As per an ethics board decision, I will make a disclosure that my ex-husband Christopher Kent is the attorney who represents this client. I do not have any business dealings with him, nor stand to gain or benefit financially from decisions made in reference to his client in any way. I vote yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
He's getting a lot of business. Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 746.
Who's that?
See, I've got 4 of them here.
Do you want me to read?
That's it. That's Wooten's.
Oh, 746, I'm sorry. Schedules a public hearing on special permit application of 331 East Main Street LLC, 331 East Main Street, Riverhead, New York, Suffolk County, tax maps. Didn't we just do this?
One's a special permit, one's a site plan.
Oh, I see. 600-129-4-15, so moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
Diane, just, what's the date for those public hearings?
It's the 16th, and they're both noticed 7:10, but I think,
Can we change?
well, I don't know.
No.
It went into the paper already.
Okay.
But I
7:10
don't-
or 6:10?
No,
7:10.
7:10, but yeah, honestly, I don't think it's gonna be a problem because we've had so many public hearings.
Okay, so,
I think
that's on for October 16th, and it's noticed at the meeting starts at 6, but it's
Yeah.
noticed at 7, so we'll break in whatever we're doing to
Right.
do that at that point.
Bring your coffee that night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Okay, so resolution 747.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post a notice of public hearing to consider a proposed local law for an amendment of chapter 217 entitled Buildings, Building Construction and Improvements and Housing Standards, Part 5 Housing Standards. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes, and I'm pleased to move forward with this and take a hard line on these landlords in town. I vote yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
I thought this should have gone through the code revision committee, and I thought that the town attorney that handles both code violations for overcrowding and for rentals should have been included in the drafting of this document. We saw several emails from the code enforcement officer that there are a lot of contradictions in this code. I think it's a waste of people's time to come out for a public hearing when there are too many inconsistencies in the code. I don't know why it didn't go through code revision and why it was just given to the town attorneys and to the code enforcement officers at 3 o'clock the day before they were supposed to come here at 10 o'clock in the morning and talk about this legislation. I don't think it's ready to go for public hearing or to notice it and publish and post it for a public hearing. So I'm voting no. I think it's a waste of time to even schedule a public hearing and bring people out for a public hearing when there are too many inconsistencies in the code. And it conflicts with the state code, which is what we are adopting into this legislation.
Bob, it's not my understanding that everything has to go through code. I mean, I've seen things on here before that didn't go through code first.
That's correct
She voted no.
understanding.
She voted no.
Some
I
go,
voted no.
you know, I say the majority go through code revision, but not everything goes through code revision.
Thank you.
But it just got adopted all at once and thrown at everybody all at once, and then here we are.
Wooten?
I'm gonna, well, I'll be done by 4 o'clock. I'm never opposed to public hearings, and yes, there seems to be some back and forth with this, but from what I read, there was no substantive changes to this particular article, ever, that I could see other than what we're looking at the penalty phases, and I think that's what really what was addressed at this particular juncture, was to look at making the penalties more punitive, so.
Actually, our code says
I'm
80
sorry,
square feet.
I thought I had the floor here.
I know,
Hello.
but
Hello.
our code says 80 square feet, the state code says 70 square feet, so there are
Well-
other inconsistencies.
Well, those inconsistencies should have been addressed long before we looked at the fine schedule. But in any event, a public hearing, it doesn't mean we're adopting anything. A public hearing is to hear all the concerns about the law, and maybe if we have to massage it, we have to massage it. But in the meantime, I'd like to see those that have a problem with it write something of their own. But I'm gonna support the public hearing, just to hear what all these complaints are.
So that's a yes.
I vote yes, and it's not even 4 o'clock.
Wait, you have 6
Jen
more
Smith.
minutes.
I think that, you know, this was a change in the code to increase the penalties. I think it brought some clarity to the purpose of this. I think just to address your request, your statement, Jody, it sets the state standards as the minimum, so if ours are more restrictive, it is not in conflict, in what was put in there, so, I vote yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 748.
Approve special permit and administrative site plan for Petroselli Ostrander Howell House, 420 East Main Street, and 117 Ostrander Avenue, Riverhead, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map Numbers 600-129-3-12 and 600-129-3-14.
And this was the latest
The
new
clerk is more-
approved.
the clerk is more
Actually,
important
it's
than
still
ours.
hot. It's the press.
So moved.
So I just take, because we were handed this is, we don't do as amended, is that?
No, this is actual, the amendments were made before it actually come out in print.
I would think it should be as amended because it's different than what we have
Well, this would
printed
be-
and posted for the public.
That's,
Right.
yeah,
Agreed.
okay.
Yeah.
So, Tim, you're moving it forward as amended?
Fortunately,
Moving
it's
it
only-
forward
It's only
as-
been moved and seconded so far, so that's a
But
good
you're
thing.
introducing it as amended?
Right, I'm introducing resolution number 748 as amended.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second as amended.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yeah, I heard the comments earlier about setting a precedence and whatnot, and I don't really buy any of that. Each project is its own entity. Very rarely are 2 projects the same thing. And I have to say, I'm very impressed with the work that Mr. Petroselli has done with all his projects downtown. I think he has been an excellent source for this town. What he's done in refabricating this house, we talk about the blight of houses. This house was the poster child of blight before Mr. Petroselli took it over. So, absolutely, I'm in favor of letting him go ahead and get it done as soon as he can, so my vote is yes.
Giglio. Yes, and when he decided not to demolish the house after a public hearing, when the board was very close to allowing him to demolish the house, we agreed to assist him along the way in anything that we could do, and Landmarks Preservation Commission would support him. So I think that it's a reasonable request.
I'm so confused now. Where are we? Did we move and seconded it yet?
Yeah, we're in the vote.
Yeah, we're in the vote.
Okay, all right, I'm confused, sorry, go ahead, Jody, I'm sorry, I'm like, wait, I'm lost. Sorry.
So again, the Landmarks Preservation Commission, this could be a parking lot today, and instead it's a beautiful historic home from 1905 that was restored by, or is being restored by Mr. Petroselli. I was in the house when it was in its poor shape, and there were MS-13 gang members living inside, and there were markings all over the walls from MS-13 gang members. I'm very happy
I don't think that's it.
that he decided to restore the house, and we agreed, the Landmarks Preservation Commission and everybody, that we would help him every step of the way. And I'm more than happy to help him, even if it is outside of the box of what we normally do. So I will vote yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 749.
Authorizes
Got
the
2
town
minutes,
clerk to publish and post notice for public hearing regarding, US HUD Community Development Block Grant, CDBG 2020 funds. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 750.
Authorize the town board to specifically amend the requirements of Town Code 301-236C1 for the site plan application of Stop and Shop sound attenuation fence and fuel cell 1615 Old Country Road, Riverhead, New York, Suffolk County, tax map number 119-1-19.1. So moved.
Second.
Does it need to be 600 before there?
Huh?
What's that?
Should it be 600-19?
What did I say?
-119? It's not in the.
Oh, it's 600,
Yeah, just
yeah,
add the
we'll
600.
leave it
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 751.
Assumes lead agency and adopts a local law to amend Chapter 225 Environmental Quality Review Act of the Town of Riverhead Code, of the Riverhead Town Code regarding the secret designation of development that require less than 50 parking spaces. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 752.
Classifies proposed code amendment to Chapter 301 zoning and land development for automobile storage in Industrial A zoning use district as a Type 1 action pursuant to SECRA and request lead agency. So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
No, I wasn't here for the work session when you discussed it, but I did watch it on TV, and my concern in talking with the dealerships that Industrial A may not exactly be the proper place for this. I think Industrial C also needs to be considered with this as a package deal. And I know you talked about, well, let's get it done in A and then we can revisit C. I would rather do it as one package and put it together so I know we have it. C makes more sense to me. Industrial A should be used for a more hazard or a more rough industrial use, where Industrial C is much more benign in its uses, and the use for car storage to me is a very benign use. So I would like to see this, I'm gonna vote no because it doesn't include Industrial C in it.
Giglio?
I'm also going to vote no, and as I expressed at the work session, I think Industrial C should be included. Industrial A should be used for the more intense manufacturing uses and job creation and tax base. And I think that it should also allow them to build buildings such as guardhouses and things of that nature. I think it should be by special permit, and I think in the special permit, we can restrict that it shouldn't be a car dealership in the future, and that that's not what the intention of this legislation is. And for all those reasons, I'm voting no.
Wooten?
Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, I've been pretty forthright in all my talks about this particular, I've thought about the Industrial A and C, and I always thought that C was a much better use for this, and that A was too intense, actually, for this. This is less intense use for the A, and the A is in the area of town that really is gonna be very much built up as far as industrial uses. Gee, this just sets it as far as a Type 1 action, a secret action.
If you wanna discuss that, it's up to you
We
guys.
discuss, Bob?
Yeah,
We
no,
can-
I mean, Tim Hubbard echoed exactly what I've been saying. He probably heard me say it at the work session, that I thought that the C, and I've been pretty forthright about that, that I thought it should be more inclusive to certain Cs, not the Cs west of certain lines or, you know, certain conditions in the C, industrial C. I think it could be,
Do you mind if I
I think we
interject,
have our
because this
cake
came
and
out of code?
taken it into,
Right,
I
we-
appreciate that. I appreciate it came out of code. And I would never, you know, change things out of code all the time.
No, do you mind if I tell you our reasoning?
You did.
Okay.
You did. I guess a lot of the car dealers requested this and that.
Well, the car deal, we met with
owners.
them, yeah, we met with them on numerous occasions and discussed it, and the committee's feeling was that, A is more limiting, not as broad an area, but C is a broad area, and while we wanna help the car dealerships because they're good neighbors, at the same time, we don't wanna see a sea of cars everywhere. And also, we had heard back from, with Civic, that they were very concerned about it, coming out that way, so that's why we talked about this for over a year, and we continue to feel that this is the best area. We can always tweak it later, but I think this works for everybody.
I didn't sit on the code, I don't know who all the we's are, but,
The code, it's, Bob, do you wanna talk about it?
but
Do you wanna talk about why we did this?
I appreciate the clarification, just.
You want,
Bob?
is that where we're at?
No,
I think what
and
Councilwoman
Jeff's here too.
just pointed out was
I've been
a lot of
pretty
the
consistent.
consideration that A was closer to the car dealerships,
Mhm.
whereas the C pushes it further west and a greater distance away. The industrial A zone is a smaller zone,
Yeah.
and the industrial C is a large zone. And again, the town board is the governing body that can choose to proceed ahead.
But thank you for
But
bringing
I
up
mean,
that
that's
one
what- that's the
point,
reason.
Bob. They did request, you know, cause we talked about this off and on, I don't know.
This has been
if-
discussed since January
Yes.
2018.
And they
I know, and I
wanted,
guarantee you'll be discussing it long after I'm gone.
they wanted storage closer to their, it was too inconvenient to have storage so far away from their, dealership. That was another
Well,
reason.
As I mentioned once before, when it was, the very first iteration was industrial C, but it was linked to a three-quarter mile, distance from established business. That was the very, very first discussion we had in January of 2018, where it was C, but we were trying to link it close proximity to the car dealerships.
So Pulaski Street is not close to the dealerships?
That would have been the location.
And then the Rayner Avenue is not closer to the dealerships?
That would have been one of them too, industrial C.
Well, that's why we would-
That was what we originally thought about, and then that quickly got
Because it was near the, it's
moved
near the
from-
residential neighbors.
Yeah, we got moved away from that. I don't remember the reasons why, and then we went to industrial A. There was a long discussion on industrial A, then there was a discussion with the car dealers where they asked for industrial A and C, and then we went back to industrial A. So, again, it's.
Car dealerships did ask for industrial A
And
and
the
C.
bottom line is,
Correct.
this decision was not made lightly. We put a lot of time and effort.
No, we've probably discussed it anywhere between 10 to 15 times, I think, at this point.
Jeff.
But-
Jeff, do you wanna address?
Yeah, just in addition to what Bob had alluded to, one of the other concerns that we had in Code Committee, Industrial A is 745 acres in size. Industrial C is over 1,100 acres in size. So you're looking at close to 2,000 acres of potential sites for off-site car storage. That's an awful lot of acres devoted for.
I don't think you get, I don't think you.
They'd be the largest car dealers on Long Island, so,
I mean, yeah, you don't
Industrial
have to
A
be,
is
you don't have to
740
be a local dealer to purchase the land to store your cars.
yeah, 745 acres is quite a bit of acreage.
Well, that should be in the code also, that it should be a local dealership that can only
It
use
is,
it
that's in the
for-
code.
It is in there, okay, so,
So, again, is it, you'd be doubling the size of the property that would be
Well, then all you
available.
have to do is like hook up solar to the windshields, and then you got like a solar farm with cars, isn't that cool? For like 250 watts.
that's a great idea, Jim, with the windshields, they'll be attracting all that sun.
Put solar panels inside the windshields.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jerry. 1,000 acres. So the vote's up to me, huh?
Yes.
Damn, I thought it'd be done by 4.
And it's after 4 o'clock now, Jim.
Give him, he gets his moment.
Well, I've been pretty consistent. I think we can massage it so that we can include some C. Now, 2,000 acres. But some C to make it so we're not really inundating our more intensive use industrial A with a benign use, so. Catherine, I appreciate all the work you did, and we're gonna do more. I'll sit with you as a civilian next year, but I'm gonna vote no.
Jen Smith. You know, I think that, I mean, obviously, this is done for the car dealerships that have been here for quite a while, that have been requesting this. I think that they have come in, you know, from what my discussions with them, that industrial A was where they were looking to put it. I think there was a discussion about buffers. I think there's a 50-foot vegetated buffer in front of the industrial A properties, which I think takes the visual impact of these car dealerships off of the main street and what needs to be looked at. I think there was some compromise on the side buffers, if they were buffering another industrial A property or an industrial C property, down to the 25 feet buffer over there. I know that when I've spoken to the car dealerships, they have said that C was a little bit too far for them. I believe that when we had a couple of our work sessions and we were discussing C, Pulaski Street and Rayner and those that were next to neighborhoods were not in consideration. So to hear that they are in consideration now is a change. And one that I do not believe that I would support around the residential areas, and that's why I thought Industrial A was more appropriate. I think I hear from everybody here on the board that Industrial A is part of their support, so I'm really kind of baffled why you would not even allow the car dealerships to be able to move forward to go into Industrial C, and then giving us time to then reevaluate and see about Industrial C. You know, in support, So in support of the spirit of this resolution to allow the car dealerships to be able to increase their storage area, to continue their business, and to be viable businesses in this town. I think they've been very good neighbors in this town. I support this resolution and I vote yes.
Resolution is not adopted. We'll move on to resolution 753.
Classifies the site plan application of 307 East Main Street, Shady's Jamaican Restaurant, facade renovation as a type 1 action pursuant to SECRA, and authorizes the planning department to circulate a request for the town board of the town of Riverhead to assume lead agency status for the purposes of SECRA review 307 East Main Street, Riverhead, New York tax map 600-129-4-2. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
I would probably do it. Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 754.
Authorizes the removal of a,
Do we want to take 54 and 55 together?
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, 74 authorizes the removal of fixed assets, as well as 55 authorizes the removal of fixed assets. So moved.
Second.
Moved and second for resolution 754 and 755.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution 754 and 755 are adopted. Resolution 756.
Ratifies acceptance of donation from Riverhead Home Depot. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
And thank you to Home Depot for donating, I believe they donated the mulch for the train station.
bulbs.
I vote yes.
Hubbard.
And the
Yes.
bulbs.
Giglio.
Yes, and thank you very much. They've been a big community supporter for many years.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes, and thank you very much to Home Depot for supporting the revitalization and the improvement down at the train station. At this time, I'd also like to thank the Gabrielson's Farm, because they also donated a ton of mums for that project down there. And if you have not been down there, I urge you to go take a look at what's been planted down there and what's going on. It's in full bloom now, and it is absolutely beautiful. So thank you to all the volunteers, to the B&G crew that has helped us out there, and everybody who's been part of planting and helping keeping that place looking great. So, yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 757.
Ratifies acceptance of donation of plants from Gabrielson Farms. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
And I'm gonna piggyback on what Laura said. We had a great group out there last weekend working at the train station. I think the group has grown. This was our third time, and it came out really beautiful. And I wanna particularly thank George Gabrielson. George does a lot for the town of Riverhead. I serve with him on the rec committee, and I am appreciative of the donation. I vote yes.
Hubbard.
Yes, thank you to the Gabrielsons, for sure.
Giglio.
Yes, and thank you. I was having an allergy attack the night before, and when I got home and my head was bending over, I couldn't imagine, but it looks beautiful and you did a great job, and for everybody that came out to do it, it really looks fantastic, and hats off to everybody that was involved, and thank you to Home Depot and Gabrielson's Farm for donating all the plants, and for all the volunteers that came out, and it really does look wonderful. Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes, and I also have to say thank you to May Zagarelli in my office. This is a passion of hers to keep this going and making sure that it's clean all the time and weeded all the time and everything. So many thanks to her for all her hard work there.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 758.
Authorizes, is this me?
Go ahead.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute an extension of a professional service agreement with Mark Conklin. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 759.
We know you like to do this one, Jim.
Go ahead, Jim.
Pay the bills. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
All right, at this time, if there's anybody from the audience that would like to come up and comment on any items, please come forward.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Yvette Aguirre, Riverhead. This question is directed to our supervisor. On June 25th, 2019, I understand that you met concerning EPCAL and how valid this contract is. Has a determination been made on the contract? You met with the attorneys on June 25th, 2019.
That was our executive session, is that?
I'm not sure.
See if I can get it.
So you're just asking what the outside counsel came back and said?
That's correct. I want to ask the supervisor if a determination has been made on the contract.
That's when we
It's a
met with the
42-page
new
contract, and this is the third review. We spent over $100,000, and we still don't have an answer. Was
Well-
a
well,
determination yes or no?
We are currently in contract with Calverton Aviation and Technology to sell them the property over at EPCAL. We've had a work session since after that meeting where we asked them to come and provide us with some information, which they did come to one of our work sessions. I believe you might have been here for that one, where they told us about some of the environmental impact for what their proposal was on the property. We felt that that was not sufficient information, and we wanted some more information as to what it was that who their team was to be able to build out the property, what they planned on developing there. We had asked them if they were going to build the property on spec, because they're, in the development plan, they're supposed to build out 1 million square feet in 5 years. They told us they would not build the property on spec, so we have asked them to come back, which they have agreed to come back on October 17th, to show us what it is that they are doing to move forward as we go into the closing of this contract, if that's in fact where we end up, what it is that they plan to develop there. So we're waiting for them to come back and report off to us on the 17th. We know that Illuminati is one of their partners in the company, but we do know from reports that Illuminati has litigation against them by Hexcel. They've also stated that they are no longer doing business here in the town of Riverhead. When Calverton Aviation and Technology came to see us, they brought us about 7 companies with letters of intent. We would like to know where they stand with those letters of intent, and they also gave us a development team to help develop their aviation and technology, which is part of their development plan, and we've asked them to come back and give us updates on that.
Wow, that was winded. Thank you.
Okay.
I fully understand the process that has taken place. My question to you is yes or no. On June 25th, you met for the 3rd time. This is the 3rd review of the EPCAL contract. Was there a determination made, yes or no?
I believe, if the date is correct, that we met with our attorneys in executive session to receive legal advice about our contract. And I'm sure you're running for as a supervisor candidate, you realize that it's privileged information when you're in executive session to consult with your attorneys.
Ma'am, a privileged session within an
Executive
attorney,
session.
executive session, a privileged information, this is taxpayers' monies that's being used. It's no longer privileged. You met to determine if the contract was valid. My question again is, was there a determination made, is the contract valid, yes or no? Can you answer that question? Was there a determination made on the validity of the contract?
Bob, can I have you repeat in executive session discussions with a client attorney privileges in executive session as to what you can talk about following that?
Well, attorney-client privilege, certainly any communications with attorney-client would be protected by the attorney-client privilege, and the nature of those discussions would be protected. So I'm not sure that's what the question is. The question is whether it was, I think, just a yes or no to whether the determination, whether the contract's valid or not. I'm not sure that was part of the discussion on July 25th. I think maybe.
This is no longer a relationship with you yourself and the attorney. This is taxpayers' money being utilized.
go ahead.
On that issue, I mean, anything that was discussed between attorneys in the town board or the community development agency, the boards are the attorney's client. Any discussion that would happen between the clients and the attorneys would be attorney-client privileged communications. The substance of those discussions would always be protected unless the clients agree to waive the confidentiality or privilege of same. So taxpayer money being spent or not being spent aside, if it was a attorney-client discussion, it would be a privileged communication. Again, I don't recall the specifics. I'm not sure I was here that day. That may have been a day when I was in court on a separate action, so I may not have
I know
familiarity
I
with
wasn't here,
what
but
happened that day.
I can tell you that we haven't done anything to disqualify the contract, so.
Well, and it isn't just between the attorneys and the supervisor, we're a 5-person board, it was between all of us, the entire board.
Okay, so what you're saying is on June 25th, 2019, you met with the third set of attorneys to determine if the EPCAL contract was valid.
And as we said, we don't know
I
if
didn't
that was
finish,
the.
can I finish the question? I'm sorry, okay? I just want to make sure that I'm clear. I'm going to start again. June 25th this year, you met with the attorneys, and the sole purpose was to determine if the contract was valid and if you should go forward and make a determination. Nothing, and you met under executive session. However, what is the outcome of that discussion? What I'm hearing is that it's attorney-client privilege, is that correct?
What's discussed in executive session with the attorney and also with negotiation of a contract is privileged within executive session. The discussions that was had with the attorney it was to discuss the contract in whole. So I'm not really sure the question that you're asking.
I'm
I
asking,
think Jim
was there a
answered that we're
determined?
still in contract.
You are in contract, so.
Correct.
And it's a legal document, and we understand that. So, was there a determination with you, when you discussed this contract, to go forward or the contract is invalid? We want to look at the validity. Isn't that the purpose? We spent $100,000 on this contract. We've had 3 reviews. You ran on the contract. We're losing at least $5 million a year just delaying this contract. We need to move forward regardless of the outcome. That's what management does. We determine, it's a 42-page document. That's for attorneys, that's 101. That's one of the first courses that they take. I'm a real estate agent. I understand contracts. You don't go into a contract and after you have this contract say, well, I'm going to go privileged with an attorney and I can't discuss that with your client. You know, you have to, there's transparency here. So what you're telling me is you met on the 25th and that has to remain within the town council. Is that correct?
I don't think you're understanding what the attorney is saying about client attorney privilege. I don't think you're comprehending that. And
oh, I'm very clear about it.
Certainly, this is done to be for the protection of the town. We have to protect the town.
Well, where's the transparency here?
interests.
What are you protecting?
I think the problem, and you're right, and I like to go some of this, but I think part of the discussions we had with our outside counsel, and they hired additional outside counsel, was the fact that there was some controversy with Daniel Preston and Illuminati and how much a part of the contract were they. They were a partner, they're not a partner. There was a lot of problems in that contract as far as that connection and how that affected the contract. I think a lot of that was what the discussion was had. And I think those have been, satisfied to some extent at this point. So, as far as I know, and I probably would know if we weren't, they are moving forward with the closing. They are moving forward. The contract's still valid. They're moving forward. There's been nothing substantive that came out of, and believe me, if there was something substantive, Denise would be on it like that, and write up a story, front page, I'm sure, but if there was something that this contract was not valid.
Well, at least that's the first time that I've heard that it looks like we're gonna go forward with the contract.
Oh, they're moving.
And they will.
They're up there every day, trust me, they're.
I've run the contract, I've read it 3 times, it's a 42-page document.
They're up there every day.
I'm sure you have.
They're doing their vinyl, they're doing their environmental.
And I've run it through real estate attorneys, and we need to solve this. This is our biggest issue here in Riverhead.
Yep.
Regardless of where I stand, we need to move this. This has just been dragging. The supervisor ran on this for 3 years ago, and now we have a third review, $100,000, and just alone on the taxes and the $15,000 in maintenance. We need to move this forward for the people of Riverhead. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.
Certainly when the supervisor and I came in and started this job, that contract was already in place. And as far as the money spent on the as far as I'm concerned, the money we've spent on the outside attorneys is worth every penny. We needed to bring in these outside attorneys. They've been giving us good advice, and I'm very pleased that we have them on board.
And the hiring of 2 outside council members to review this, 2 outside attorneys simultaneously to review this contract was done prior to us coming in.
A second set of eyes as far as that goes, which I didn't know if you guys put either one of them, but that I understand. But there was additional, you guys hired somebody else you hired somebody else, didn't you, recently?
Nope, we just hired we hired somebody else recently. Laser, correct.
I don't know who
To
they
review
are.
the contract.
I didn't
Both
support
2 outside councils were hired before we came in, so that was done with the previous board. When we came on, the 2 council members simultaneously looking at the contract. We were already hired and that money was already spent. During my tenure, we dismissed one of the attorneys, so we weren't paying 2 attorneys to look at the same documents. And then now, as we're moving forward, we've hired somebody that has expertise in these larger outside real estate deals. They have expertise in the areas that we need them to look at as far as contracts go, fulfillment of the intended development plan. And we've had CAT come in here. We've had them come in here twice. They've been in here once already. And if you're saying that you're very familiar with contracts and real estate deals, you know until it's signed on the dotted line, that it's the due diligence of this town to make sure as they proceed forward, they are carrying their end and their part of the contract. It's an urban renewal zone, there's an intended development plan, and it's the job of this town board to make sure that they are going to be able to fill that when they sign the contract. And that's what we've been doing, and that's what we've requested them to do, and they're coming in here again on the 17th. So we hope that they are coming in here to let us know that they have companies, letters of intent, and possibly contracts to be able to fill that 1 million square feet of space. I think that's what Riverhead
I
needs.
just got one thing to say, because I don't really let things go that are totally true. Yes, we did have 2 sets of eyes, but I think the second set was brought in for the Q&E process.
No.
Was that Q&E?
No.
Ah,
There was.
You better go back and read the minutes there.
There was a third review.
Mike Heller was brought in prior to I think,
But his expertise was in
December?
going for the qualified eligible.
He was already
When
on
that
board when
process,
we came
when that
in.
process, of course he was.
Yeah.
And when that process was complete, he was let go because he was no longer needed.
Right.
So it wasn't
Okay, so
because it was 2 set of eyes.
I'll be quick.
And,
was over for a
and
while.
his biggest role was to familiarize the new board members with the process of the Q&E.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. He was hired by you guys before we came on.
For the Q&E
No,
process.
he was hired because it was felt that Frank Eisler did not have enough dealings with large projects like this. So Mike Heller was hired because that was his area of expertise, and he was hired to assist Frank in the contract.
The Q&E and also the contract.
Okay, so I'll make one more statement, because Mr. Councilman Wooten, it's after 4 o'clock, and I know.
Oh, I know. That's right. My daughter can wait at Moe's, so I'll get there when I get there.
You mentioned if I am familiar with real estate, I am a New York State licensed real estate with an active license, so let me make that clear. The other point that I want to make is that personally, regardless of where you stand, I think the taxpayers of Riverhead deserve to know what was said behind executive session. And we'll leave it at that. You said your point, you said where you stand. As a taxpayer, I'm speaking on my behalf, and have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.
And it's open meetings law. You can look under open meetings law. You should familiarize yourself with that. Okay.
But we'll be discussing it, as we've said, on October 17th at a work session.
All right.
Good job. I move to adjourn.
First and second closed
Wait,
meeting.
is anybody else want to say anything?
Oh, so good.
I'm sorry. We should move to adjourn.
He's
Sorry, that was my
only been
fault.
sitting here since the beginning.
That's all right.
Patiently been waiting.
Try to get
The
Ted.
Stop and Shop sound wall that's supposed to be installed.
Yeah.
Yes, at the last meeting, they were supposed to discuss it. But what was proposed was, instead of a sound wall.
I'm sorry, can you just identify your name?
Oh, my name is Robert Giordano. I live at Glenwood Village, right behind Stop and
Yeah,
Shop.
we passed a resolution today.
And anyway, the proposal was not a sound wall, a 15-foot chain link fence with a
It's a sound
little,
wall.
with some sound absorbing fabric draped over it, which is a far cry from an 18-foot sound wall.
Well, let's see if it works.
Excuse me?
Let's see if it works.
It won't work. It only,
Well-
there are excuse me, they did tests. It'll decrease the sound level by 15 decibels. The average truck running produces about 100 decibels. So they'll knock it down to 85. State, and Riverhead Town Code is 65 decibels is the maximum allowable decibel level. So they're not meeting it.
I think there's a couple of things they're doing, not only the 15-foot
They're also doing it by the
attenuation
loading
on,
dock.
they're also
And
at the
there's
loading
plantings.
dock putting, I think there's a bunch of different things they're doing, not just the wall.
That's not the point, sir.
Well-
The discussion was about an 18-foot sound attenuation wall.
A fence.
No,
I think
wall.
does it say fence or
You
wall?
want to see the agenda?
Attenuation
Nick?
fence?
It's actually a chain link fence, but it has acoustic material that's going to be
You wanna
weaved
see
in.
what the-
Yeah, I've seen the plan.
What is that?
Discussion on the agenda.
Right, well,
We
the
saw the
agenda discussion that's on today is a specific code that says that absent town board weighing in, the height has to be 6 feet or less. So what the town board action today does is it frees up the site plan process for the planning board to review the application that's made by Stop and Shop to put the sound attenuation material and what they're proposing. I'm not sure if you've seen the plans, but they will be discussed, they were discussed, I believe, briefly at the last planning board meeting.
Yes, I was there.
And they showed what was being proposed. It was-
Yes,
it was an acoustic- yeah,
15-foot chain link fence.
Okay.
with acoustic material
Right.
weaved in.
Right, so
Which will-
going back to the beginning, when we first heard about this complaint, I think all of us heard about it last October, we had the applicant put together and go out and do the sound ratings. So they came back, we didn't trust those sound ratings, so we hired our own company to go out and do the decibel ratings for the sound that was emanating off of that building onto your property or at the property line. Then we hired the company to actually design something that would attenuate the noise there and bring it down. And meanwhile, the owner of Glenwood Village, the Stop and Shop owners, and the contractor have all been meeting on a regular basis to discuss how to attenuate the noise to make your quality of life better. And that's why they're doing plantings on both sides of the fence. The readings that it's going to be coming down to hopefully will be satisfactory to you. If not, there will have to be other things that will be done. There's noise attenuation on the loading dock where Stop and Shop and Peapod actually does the packaging and where the trucks back up to.
Yes, I
So,
understand all that,
and
yes.
when it comes to the idling of the trucks, Stop and Shop has said that they will be more respectful with the
Wow.
music and with the idling.
Can I ask just repeat your question, please? I'm not sure if we're addressing your exact question.
My exact question was, why wasn't the 18-foot sound wall discussed instead of the 15-foot chain link fence? On the agenda, it says sound wall.
And who, is that the planning board's agenda?
It's planning board, it's not the
It's
town
planning board,
It's
so
not yet the
just,
road board,
just for
but yes,
clarity,
it's-
so we're the town board, we're not reviewing the plans to mitigate
But did you make
this-
a recommendation as to what should be?
Well, so what we did as the town board is, in our code, you're only allowed to have something at 6 feet. So what we did, we were allowed to permit something to go higher than the 6 feet. The request from the planning board was to allow something to be up to 15 feet. We allowed that to happen, and then it goes to the planning board for approval of the plans to mitigate the sound. And so it's the planning board that gets the site plan and the actual materials and everything else that will be looked at to mitigate the sound. We're just allowing it to proceed forward.
Okay. One more question.
So I just wanna make sure you show up at the right place too, to give your comments at the planning board. That's
I'll
what-
be there tomorrow night.
Okay.
Also, they want to put in a cogeneration energy production unit. I assume this will make noise. So we're trying to eliminate noise, and you're bringing in more noise.
I don't know we don't have Jeff here, 'cause I don't have the site plan in front of me.
The cogen is being added to the eastern side. They're going to eliminate, to my recollection, I think it's 4 parking
Right.
spaces, and then they're going to put the same sound wall around that.
Which will eliminate 15 decibels of sound.
It's parallel to the recharge area. There aren't any dwellings in that area where the cogen is going.
This is if you go to
It's right on Mill Road.
the eastern end of the building, the eastern wall that's adjacent to and runs parallel to Mill Road.
I wasn't sure of the exact location.
It's not gonna be in the rear, it's gonna
It's
be
on
on
the
the
rear.
side.
So
and it's
it
gonna
won't be within 50 feet of the residential.
No.
Oh, no.
Hitman
no.
collision might hear it
And
right there during the day.
I wasn't clear on the exact location. I was just concerned about the proximity
I
and the
don't blame
noise it
you.
would
I
produce.
don't blame you.
Okay, okay.
That's about it, Chief. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you
Very
very
good.
much. Chief, did you wanna get up and say something?
No, he's ready
If
to
not, yeah, first and second to adjourn the meeting?
Diana, you
All
wanna
those in
say
favor?
anything?
Opposed, so carried.
Denise?
I think this was, I got one.
Aye.